Hi. I was gonna say happy Wednesday, and then I remembered that today's Monday, so. Happy Monday. Happy Monslay. That was nasty. I hate that I said that. Dude, my house is so crazy right now. There's construction downstairs. There's construction on the street because they're putting in fiber. And they're like jackhammering and digging holes. And I'm like, there is so much happening right now. I am so ready for Champions, dude. I need it to be out right now. Bro said, I can't wait for Pokopia. Okay, well, listen. Listen, we're gonna be yapping. Dude, they're so loud outside. They're literally like directly outside of my house too. So like, if you hear jackhammering, I'm sorry. Is it fiber for... I think so, because they like put little signs on our doors that were like, oh, we're installing fiber for internet. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Oh, thank you. I need new ones. These are old. I technically have a new prescription and I haven't gotten it yet because glasses are like $700. So we're putting off that charge for as long as possible. Bro said eat fruit. True! That's what we were talking about this yesterday. You're supposed to eat it. We were literally talking about fiber, like putting fiber in your diet yesterday. Yeah, eat your vegetables, eat your fruits. My weekend was good. Hello. I have two pairs. I have the big pink ones and I have these. I've been wearing these more though because the big pink ones are really heavy and they give like me headaches. The new ones that I want to get eventually when I decide that $700 is not gonna make me cry for new glasses, are more similar to these. They're actually frameless, so to be determined when we end up getting those, but oh, thank you. They're like little pink grainy glasses. Look at the side. Crazy. But it's fine. And I do not want to eat your fiber optic cables, actually. I would prefer to not do that. I'm doing good. We're gonna go over some team builds today. I am gonna turn these into YouTube videos in case anybody doesn't get a chance to be here and or doesn't want to watch the entire stream because I'm gonna talk a lot. I also have notes written down. Oh god, there's a dog hair on my mouth. Yeah, I also have notes written down in case I get off track because I stay getting off track. Everything's fine. Everything is so super fine. Let me pull them up actually. Okay. Success. I have pulled them up. But yeah, so that's gonna be today's topic, is we're gonna go over a couple of like easy to pilot teams for people that are starting to get into comp, especially in Champions because it's a new format. So I'm listen, we're gonna be shut up. I'm not gonna be able to think or speak if Spotify is blaring in my ears, so it's gonna be a little quiet, okay? It's gonna be a little bit quiet in here. It's fine. Let me pull up the pastes as well. Yeah, I am gonna turn off the noties, but they're technically already off. I'm just gonna swap to my non-notification screen so that we can go over them in peace. I'm gonna start off with a weather team. Yeah, I'm gonna start off with a weather team so that we can kind of keep going with the theme team. But I do have a non-weather team that we're gonna go over as well. Where'd it go? This one? Yeah, okay, cool. That way. You can see that, right? You can see that, right? I don't particularly have a restricted duo that I'm set on. Like, I don't have my heart set on anything. Just because I've never actually played competitively in a mega format. So these are just I'm just gonna go over teams that are easy to pilot for today. But I want to say, if when it comes to me specifically, the teams that I would run are probably going to be more hyper offense because that's just me. But I tried to stay away from me teams because I feel like the me teams that are not like, I don't know, the way that my brain works is I feel like the teams that I use are not beginner friendly. Like one of the first teams that I ever felt comfortable piloting was a Perish Trap team. Nobody thinks that Perish Trap is easy. Like, you know what I mean? But like, if you ask me to like pilot a balance team, like I can't do that. And I don't know why. I'm just weird. You've never played in a mega format competitively? Hyper offense do go burr. But so, like I said, I'm gonna start off with a rain team. Just because rain is always really easy to pilot, a lot like sun. And this team specifically is like very similar to rain teams in Scarlet and Violet. Which is why I wanted to feature this team specifically, just because it's something that you probably have seen before. And if you have, not that this is connected to the VGC 101 or 201 series, which I did say that the last time that I went over a team, but if you've watched either of those series, then you would have heard me talk about like rain or like weather teams in general and like cores. So we're kind of going to mix both of those concepts today because this is a rain team, and then the other team does revolve around a fire, water, grass core. So a little bit of both. Balance is boring. Is this a new Bookopia loading screen? Yeah. Hi, what's up, Jade? So starting out with the rain team. So for the rain team, we're going to go over each Pokemon individually, kind of like what their role, and go over what each of their roles are, just so you can get a feel for the team and then see if it's something that you would want to try. Obviously, we have all the EVs and everything on the screen for you, their items, whatever. So when it comes to rain, one of like the staple Pokemon that you're going to see on a rain team is going to be Pelipper, especially in a format that doesn't have like restricted legendaries like Kyogre and Groudon, whatever. So our number one spot is going to go to Pelipper. We do have it holding the Focus Sash, and its ability is, of course, going to be Drizzle. And that's because Drizzle is what's going to set your rain, which is kind of necessary to run a rain team. Pay no attention to the fact that there's Terra types, obviously, because we're talking about a mega format. It's just there, okay? Doesn't matter. Terras don't exist right now. But for our EVs, we do have 4 in HP, 252 in special attack, 4 in special defense, and 252 in speed, with a timid nature. So just by looking at the EVs, obviously we're going to be focusing on Pelipper's special attack and its speed. Hello! Did we leave ZA already? ZA was left many moons ago, I fear. Hold on, let me make sure I'm hitting my points. Let me pull up my notes once again. But so, yeah, so the reason that we're focusing mostly on speed and special attack is because specifically of Pelipper's moveset. So if you look at Pelipper's moveset, it has Protect, Hurricane, Weather Ball, and Tailwind. So Pelipper is going to be like your main source of speed control on this team, since it is going to be setting Tailwind. And since it doesn't have Prankster, like something like Whimsicott, it's not going to be able to set instant Tailwind. So you do want to be able to set the Tailwind as quickly as possible, which is why we have that high speed stat. As for the special attack, Pelipper is not just a support Pokemon, especially on rain teams, because its special attack stat is actually really good. And in the rain, things like Hurricane and Weather Ball are actually going to put out a lot of offensive like pressure. And the fact that it has a Focus Sash not only lets it live at least 2 hits, which means that you are more than likely going to be able to get your Tailwind off, especially if you have it next to something that can redirect, or even if you just want to avoid, getting 1-hit KO'd. But also, it allows you, if you don't immediately get doubled into, to put out a lot of offensive pressure with Hurricane, which obviously doesn't miss in the rain, and Weather Ball, which becomes a water-type move in the rain. Yeah, I turned off the notifications, sorry. And I also turned off the music because I need to, focus, because I feel like if I had music on, I would actually be, all over the place. I wouldn't be able to think. Oh, well, I'm glad that you're here for a little bit. But so yeah, so like, what was I saying? What was I in the middle of saying? I think I hit my points for Pelipper. But yeah, so like I was saying, Pelipper is not only going to be a support Pokemon that's there to set the rain and set your speed control, it's also going to put out a lot of offensive pressure just due to the fact that it basically boosts itself with Hurricane and Weather Ball because it sets up the rain for itself. So Pelipper is kind of cool because it doubles as both a support Pokemon as well as offensive pressure. Roasted, I'll sing for you. Another staple that you're gonna see on a lot of rain teams, and a staple that on a rain team, and it's been a staple on rain teams for basically all of Scarlet and Violet, is going to be a newer Pokemon, which is Archaludon. This Archaludon is holding the Assault Vest, and it does have the ability Stamina. So just based off of its item and its ability, you can tell that we are going to be going for a bulkier build, and you can also see that reflected in its EVs as well, since we do have 252 in HP, 4 in defense, 116 in special attack, 116 in special defense, and 24 in speed. So you can see that most of the EVs are focused in HP as well as special defense, which the Assault Vest is helping in that respect as well, and then special attack. We don't need a whole lot in special attack. Obviously, there's like a significant amount in special attack, but because of its nature and its moveset, it kind of also boosts itself in special attack. Oh my god, not us singing over here. Yo, you guys are crazy. Oh my god, I just realized that TikTok can't see the screen. They're just listening to me talk. Oh no. Hold on. Oh no. Hold on. I'm sorry. Oh, yo, I'm so fake for that. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see if I can add this real quick. I think it's this. I think I have it set as this. Yeah, here. There we go. Now you guys can see that here a little bit. Let me move this down over here. I should crop this. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Hold on. Oh no. Fit the screen. There we go. Sorry. God, why didn't you guys say something sooner? Okay. TikTok, can you see that? Can you see that now? I hope you can. Cool. Let me make it a little bigger for you. There we go. I can also there. Ta-da! Smile and wave. You wrote it down. Okay. Let me put this also down here. There we go. So I can move it. I'm gonna move it up a little bit too for you so that you can actually see. Okay, cool. Okay. Now that we're all on the same page. My bad. Now that we're all on the same page. Back to what I was saying. What was I saying? I was talking about Archaludon. Okay. I was talking about Archaludon. My bad. Okay, so Archaludon has a modest nature, which is going to boost its special attack. If you are ever confused about natures and what nature a Pokemon should have, you can definitely look up like a nature chart, which hopefully you guys can see that. I know it's a little lopsided for TikTok, I'm sorry, but if you like, for the way that you read this chart is if we go to modest nature, you'll see that it raises special attack and it lowers attack. And so if your Pokemon is a special attacker, you're generally going to be okay with, you know, lowering their attack, which is why we have it as a modest nature, because it's going to boost special attack and it's going to drop a stat that we don't really care about. But so, like I was saying, the reason that we don't have like everything invested in special attack like 252 like we did with Pelipper is because not only are we boosting our special attack with the modest nature, but also we're also boosting the special attack with Archaludon's signature move, Electroshock, because as you can see, its moveset is going to be Draco Meteor, Electroshock, Body Press, and Snarl. Huh? The set looks bad for Archaludon if it's running Body Press. I don't know why you would say that, but okay. So Once again, let me look at my notes, make sure I'm covering everything that I want to say. But, okay, so, Archaludon is a staple. The reason that Archaludon is a staple in the rain, once again, is because Electroshock is Electroshock is actually a 2-turn move unless it's in the rain. So Pelipper setting up the rain for Archaludon is kind of like a match made in heaven, because then it turns Electroshock into a 1-turn move. And Electroshock is going to also boost special attack by 1 stage, I believe. So someone correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't gotten there yet. We haven't gotten to the Pokemon below Archaludon yet, okay? We haven't gotten to the Pokemon below Archaludon to explain why it's there. So Electroshock is going to further boost the special attack for you since it is enabled by the rain. Draco Meteor, after you're able to get even 1 Electroshock off, is going to do a ton of damage. Sure, it has the possibility of missing, but sometimes you do have to take the gamble on less accurate moves if it is going to be something that's going to either 1, turn the entire game state in your favor, or pick up a really important KO. Draco Meteor obviously also drops your special attack every time that you use it, which is also... So synergistically, Electroshock and Draco Meteor work together really well, since Electroshock is going to increase your special attack, so you're not going to care as much about the Draco Meteor special attack drops. Is it confirmed that EVs will not transfer to champions? That is not confirmed. I believe, yeah, I don't think that's confirmed at all. I think we have to just wait and see what happens when we, put the Pokemon into champions to visit. All that I know is that the Pokemon, if you change anything about them in champions, I believe they go back to the way that they were once you send them back to Scarlet and Violet or wherever they came from. So yeah, but that's why we have Electroshock and Draco Meteor. Really great synergy there. And then the stamina, of course, its ability. Every time that Archaludon takes any kind of physical damage, it's actually going to boost its defense stat, which is why we have Body Press on there. So, realistically speaking, Archaludon doesn't really mind getting hit because it's going to boost its Body Press. So, it has a way to hit that in that respect as well, because Body Press is boosted by defense stat. It doesn't go up based off of your attack stat, since obviously Archaludon's not a physical attacker, it's a special attacker. So we have a move on there that can hit physically, but doesn't have anything to do with its attack stat. Hi! And then lastly, we have Snarl on there. Snarl is more of a support option, and it's a really annoying option. So there is a lot of special attackers, and there's a lot of special attacking Mega Pokemon. So something like Snarl is great for disruption, since Snarl is going to lower special attack, and obviously we are really good at taking special hits as well. So if you pair a specially bulky Pokemon like Archaludon with Snarl, Archaludon's not going anywhere, all while being able to boost its own special attack stat in the rain because of its best friend Pelipper. So Pelipper and Archaludon are kind of like 2 peas in a pod. Where's the mouse going? I'm glad that you asked. So Maushold is also going to be one of Archaludon's best friend. So for Maushold, Maushold is going to be a support Pokemon. It is going to be holding the Safety Goggles item, and its ability is going to be Friend Guard. Safety Goggles is great because it... Oh, my headset turned off. I should take it off, but whatever. But Safety Goggles is going to be important, especially in a meta where Sinistcha is really big, or even things like Amoonguss. Obviously, Amoonguss never really, disappears anywhere. So what Safety Goggles does is that it ignores powder moves. So think of the most annoying powder move possible. Rage Powder. If somebody Rage Powders with Sinistcha, Amoonguss, whoever, Maushold doesn't care. Maushold is going to completely ignore that. And Maushold also can't be spored. So it's a great option into, like I said, things like Amoonguss and Sinistcha, just because it can't be redirected by their signature powder moves, and it can't be slept if you find yourself in something like Trick Room and you're in front of an Amoonguss and it wants to spore everything on the field, because that's what Amoonguss does. Friend Guard is a really cool ability because it protects your partner. Huh? What do you mean, who let me build my team? What does that mean? What's up? I'm actually going over a rain team. I went over a sun team earlier, like a couple of days ago as well. Oh, real niche. Thank you so much for the raid. Oh my god, sorry. Let me actually look up the exact amount that Friend Guard reduces damage by. One moment, please. Friend Guard. Just so that I don't misspeak. So... Oh, that didn't even give me an exact amount. Please hold. Okay, 25%. Thank you. Okay, so Friend Guard is going to reduce the amount of damage that Maushold's partner takes by 25%. So that's actually a significant, like, reducing damage by 1/4 is actually really good and helps a lot of things stay alive for a lot faster. Team building's going great. We're going over a rain team right now and how it kind of works together synergistically. So that's why that's what makes Maushold a really great support Pokemon for starters is its ability. Just that in and of itself is going to help you get out of a lot of like really sticky situations. And then as you can see, EV wise, we are going to be focusing on its HP as well as its speed. So we have 252 in HP, 4 in defense, 4 in special defense, and 252 in speed. So Maushold is trying to stay on the field for as long as possible to be as disruptive as possible, and then it's going to be fast because you do want it to be able to do certain things as quickly as possible. And to kind of play off of that speed stat, we do have a timid nature, which once again, if you go over here to our nature chart, you can see that if you find timid, it's going to increase speed and decrease attack. So this is going to be making Maushold very fast. And the reason that it's timid, what's the strat? I'm going over it right now. It is a lot of people have been saying that the current meta, from what we can see in so far, from what we know that's available in Champions, is very similar to Regulation Age, actually. That's been something that people have been saying all the time. But like I was saying, it's going as fast as possible, and you're probably thinking like, okay, like why does it have a timid nature if its moves are not like special attacks? And that's because Super Fang, its moveset overall is going to be Protect, Super Fang, Beat Up, and Follow Me. So Protect obviously is going to be one of the most important moves that you have in VGC, since, like I have mentioned before, it is going to give you the opportunity to slow the game down, whether that is stalling out turns of Tailwind, Trick Room, or even just kind of scouting out what your opponent's going to do, or just avoiding damage from things like Fake Out that you know are going to hit you first and make you flinch and leave you vulnerable to taking any hits, etc. But after that, Super Fang, if you have been watching the playthrough that we did of Pokemon Fire Red, we had Super Fang on Raticate. And the reason that I think that Super Fang is a very important move is that it is always going to have HP. And so if you run into a team that is very bulky, if somebody's just running a very bulk-heavy team, and you don't really have a good way to break through the Pokemon, you are able to have their HP so that you don't have to be swimming through, like, molasses in order to get them off of the field. The caveat for Super Fang is that it always just halves HP, so you're never going to be able to KO a Pokemon with Super Fang. But you already know that no matter what their HP is at, it's going to be halved every single time. So Super Fang isn't really affected by, like, stats per se. It just has to do with, like, the amount of HP a Pokemon has. Your opponent's Pokemon has. Starting over with Regulation A again? I don't know. You've been liking the pre-champion showdown. Yeah, it's a really good way to actually, like... Oh, thank you! Thank you so much for the congrats on the 32k subs. Yeah, it's a really good way to actually practice, I think. Yeah, Super Fang is one of my favorite moves. Next, you'll see we have Beat Up. And you're probably wondering why Beat Up is there, especially because, like I mentioned, Maushold has, like, no investment in attack, and you're like, okay, why is Beat Up there? And that's because, like I said, Maushold is one of Archaludon's best friends. Why? Because beat up isn't supposed to go into your opponent. Beat up is supposed to go into Archaludon. So, yes, you want to hit your own Pokemon with Maushold because the beat up. Sorry, what? Oh, beat up hits for as many Pokemon as I believe you have left in the party. Let me double check. Yeah. So every Pokemon on your team that doesn't have a status or is not fainted. So if, for example, you open with Maushold and Archaludon, or if you have Archaludon and Maushold early game and none of your Pokemon have fainted or anything like that, then you're able to get what is it, 3? I can't do math. No, sorry. What is the math? Somebody tell me the math. Math is hard. Mighty Mouse is crazy. Listen. Oh, are we asking about wide lens? Math for how? Oh, I was trying to say how many times beat up would hit Archaludon if none of your Pokemon had fainted. The math is not mathing. There's a column view option on this page that makes it 2x3. Can you enable it? Okay, 4, thank you. What do you mean? What do you mean column mode? No. If we're talking about wide lens versus loaded dice for population bomb, it's because loaded dice doesn't do anything for population bomb. Because since population bomb goes like it's a kind of a roll, so it can miss during any of the hits. You want something that's going to increase its accuracy. All the Pokemon fit on the screen without scrolling. Oh. Is that better for you? Do you like that better? Is that better? Does that look better for y'all? Okay, you're welcome. Okay, now that we can see everybody at the same time. So yeah, so like going back to beat up. So if you're able to have Archaludon and Maushold together early game and none of your other Pokemon have fainted, you're able to beat up into Archaludon 4 times, which means that you're going to get 4 stamina boosts. So already you're getting your defense boosted 4 times, which is amazing for body press. And it also, since it's raising your defense as well, you're going to be able to take physical hits from any physical attackers really well, like in addition to you also boosting your own body press. So these 3 love to work together. After that, sorry, I almost forgot a whole move. Yeah. And then lastly, Follow Me. Like I had mentioned when I was going over Pelipper, Follow Me is going to be able to redirect anything away from Pelipper if you want to keep your Focus Sash intact. And it's not a powder move, so Follow Me can't be ignored by things like safety goggles. So since it's not a powder move, it'll still redirect anything that is trying to hit, say, Pelipper, or trying to hit Archaludon, or trying to hit any other Pokemon that you have next to Maushold. So Maushold is really good at disruption. It's really good at setting up your big special attacker in Archaludon, and it's really good at having the HP of any Pokemon that might be too bulky for you to get through naturally, since this team can sometimes be a little frail. I'm looking at the Pokemon next to Maushold. Which Pokemon next to Maushold is Basculegion. Basculegion is going to be a physical attacker. We do have which is why we do have it holding the Choice Band item, and its ability is going to be Swift Swim. Oh, I know the Ivy's being gone is not ideal, but because I know that there was a lot of like skill expression when it comes to Ivies, especially with things like foul play or getting like min-maxing your whatever. But so that means there's going to be a lot more speed ties now, especially in things like Trick Room. But I digress. So Basculegion's ability Swift Swim meet. Oh, Pokemon Champions comes out in like 2 days, which is why we're going over some easy to pilot teams for people that might not have been into the competitive scene until now. Like, Champions is going to be their introduction to competitive Pokemon, so I wanted to give people easy to pilot teams so that they could go into Champions not feeling like they were behind or they didn't have something to try. I don't really think that there's a reason to use female Basculegion. Moonlight, has that ever been used in competitive before? Or no? Do we know what the first format will be? It's gonna be Megas and whatever Pokemon are available in the decks. Female Basculegion isn't bad, but it isn't the okay, well. Okay, but like I was saying, back to male Basculegion. So, the reason that we have Swift Swim on Basculegion is, once again, just because it synergizes really well with the fact that we are using a rain team, because Swift Swim is going to double Basculegion's speed stat in the rain. So you'll kind of also see that we are focusing a lot on Basculegion's speed just by looking at its EVs as well. So we have 4 HP, 252 in attack, 4 in defense, and 252 in speed. So like I mentioned, you know, in passing and tongue-in-cheek wise, that Basculegion basically has like no bulk to it. It's not going to want to take a lot of hits, okay? So that's also where Maushold comes in handy as well, because you are able to have Maushold take the hits for Basculegion, and Maushold can also help Basculegion actually take any hits a lot better just because of Friend Guard. So Maushold, that's why Maushold is such a like good support Pokemon, because Maushold is just like here for everyone and helps in multiple ways. But so attack wise, 252 in attack is because we want to be hitting hard, and 252 in speed is because we want to be hitting fast. So Basculegion, I like to say, is here for a good time, not a long time. Basculegion is one of my preferred Pokemon to use on a rain team, just because I am more of a hyper offense, like, I want to see something get deleted, and if that means that I'm only on the field for 2 turns, that's okay with me. But they are cute. But so yeah, with Basculegion, its main goal is that it wants to hit fast and it wants to hit hard, which is also why we ended up giving it an adamant nature, just to further boost the attack stat. Once again, going over to our nature chart. For adamant nature, we can see that it lowers special attack and it increases attack. So we don't really care about Basculegion's special attack, which is why we go for adamant here. Moveset wise, we are going to be running Wave Crash, Last Respects, Aqua Jet, and Flip Turn. Wave Crash is going to be like your big stab damage dealing move. Wave Crash does a lot. However, it does have the slight drawback of you taking recoil damage. But I think that's not a bad trade-off. It's basically like the equivalent of using something like Flare Blitz, how it deals a big amount of damage. You take a lot of recoil, but if it helps you pick up that KO, I think it was worth, you know, taking some HP chip. Last Respects is going to be your Ghost type big attacking move, which can come in handy late game because Last Respects obviously gets boosted the more with the more what is the correct English way to say this right now? Boosted by how many of your teammates have fainted. There we go. I don't know why my brain was not functioning with that sentence, but yeah, so Last Respects gets boosted by however many of your teammates have fainted. So Last Respects is a really good late game move to use, which also is nice to have with something like Aqua Jet, because say you have Basculegion on the field early game. We make her nervous. I'm trying to like be eloquent so I can like make this into YouTube videos later for people that aren't watching the stream. So sorry. YouTube Diana is trying to function while on stream. Read that to me again, stop. Been seeing that a lot of people have Basculegion on their teams for champions. Is there a specific reason? Most likely they're running a rain team, which is what we're going over right now. It's a really good rain team attacker. But like I was saying, Aquajet, or sorry, not Aquajet. I was thinking of Flip Turn, but going back to Aquajet, not Flip Turn. Aquajet is nice because it is a priority move. So if you find yourself in a situation where maybe you don't have the rain setup and you would like to knock out something that is low HP and you want to make sure that you hit first, even though you don't have your speed doubled, Aquajet is going to move first. It's also nice to have in Trick Room, especially if there's nothing like Indeedee or Farigiraf on the opponent's side that can't stop any priority moves. And then the move that I was thinking that I was talking about is Flip Turn. So Last Respects and Flip Turn, I like that they have some really good synergy here because like I was saying, if you find yourself in a situation where Maushold and Basculegion are on the field, or not, or if Basculegion just in general is on the field early game, if you're trying to save Basculegion for late game so that you can have that big Last Respects damage, you're able to Flip Turn out of there and bring something else in, like a support Pokemon, or if you think you're going to get hit on the physical side, put in that Archaludon. Let the Archaludon take the physical hit, boost the stamina, and then keep your Basculegion safe just because you know that Basculegion generally isn't going to be wanting to take any hits and is definitely more of like a good late game Pokemon. Oh, we in the lab. We in the lab. So Basculegion I feel like is very like straightforward. It's just going to be a really good like rain physical attacker. Do we have any questions so far? Now that we've gone over 4 of the 6. Bro said I'm camera shy. Oh, okay. Bro said, where's the weakness policy? Is it not enough that Maushold is hitting its own teammate? Is that not enough for you? Moving on to our actual Mega on this team. I know there's not an item. Pretend that there's a Mega Stone next to Dragonite. But the Mega for this team specifically is going to be Dragonite. Dragonite is one of our newer Megas, so said we love friendly violence. God. What is your question? But so yeah, Dragonite. So Dragonite is going to be one of our newer If you ever wonder how long it takes me to film a YouTube video, it takes a long time because I do things like that. Just stumble over my own words. But let's try that again. Run that back. Run that back. Run that back. Okay. So, like I was saying, Dragonite is going to be one of our newer Megas, and you'll see that its ability is multi-scale, and that's because we want its ability, do we actually want its ability to be multi-scale outside of Mega as well? Or did we want Inner Focus before? Let me just confirm before I continue to speak. Because its Mega ability is multi-scale. Just confirming that we want it to be multi-scale in and out of Mega. What are we doing? I'm going over some easy to pilot teams for Pokemon Champions. When facing opposing weather teams, what are the 3 guaranteed you should bring? I'll go over that at the end. You like, okay, so you like multi-scale more. Okay, yeah, so it is supposed to be multi-scale. So for this, for this specific team, its ability in and out of Mega is going to be multi-scale. Its ability when it Megas is still multi-scale. Multi-scale is a great ability to have on Dragonite, just because it is going to make sure that it halves the amount of damage that it takes from any move when it's at full HP. So if Dragonite is sitting in front of a fairy, it's going to be able to take that hit instead of immediately going down. Can you change Mega's ability outside of non-Mega? Yes. So Dragonite also has the ability Inner Focus. So if you did want Dragonite to have Inner Focus while it's not Mega evolved, you can definitely do that too. It helps you avoid things like fake out flinches. You'll still take the fake out damage, but you won't flinch. It helps you avoid things like Intimidate, since your attack stat won't be lowered if you wanted to focus more on Dragonite's attack stat, which I don't really know why you would want to do that, because when it Megas, it becomes a special attacker. But yeah, so you can have like an Inner Focus Dragonite that then Mega evolves into a multi-scale Dragonite. Any battling today? Unfortunately, no, because Pokemon Champions isn't actually out yet, so I have no way of battling. But so, yeah, so Multi-Scale is a great ability just because it does make sure that Dragonite doesn't usually go down in one hit. There are specific Pokemon that are strong enough to actually break through Multi-Scale and actually one-hit KO it. Things like, if you played in Scarlet and Violet, you would know that like an Ice Spinner from, is it Ice Spinner or is it Icicle Crash? I think it might be Ice Spinner from Chen Pao is able to take it out. That's a good point as well. Multi-Scale is also nice on this team specifically because you do have 2 forms of redirection on this team, which we'll get to the second form of redirection in a second. But like I mentioned, Maushold's Follow Me can't be ignored. So if you have a Maushold next to a Dragonite, you're able to keep your Multi-Scale intact for far longer as well. Oh. That too, yeah. Things that have Mold Breaker can also break through Multi-Scale as well. So that's one thing that Mold Breaker Emboar can do. Because Mold Breaker is going to basically ignore abilities. But EV-wise, for our Dragonite, just because, like I mentioned earlier, a reason why Inner Focus might not be as crucial as Multi-Scale outside of Mega is because when Dragonite Mega Evolves, it does become a special attacker. It actually loses points in physical attack and gains them in the special attack. So for its EVs, we do have 4 in HP, 4 in defense, 252 in special attack, and 252 in speed. And so Dragonite is kind of similar to Basculegion in the sense that it wants to hit fast and it wants to hit hard. We also have a timid nature, which we already went over, is going to boost special attack it's going to boost speed and not affect anything that we really care about for Dragonite. So once again, we have timid, which is going to boost speed and drop attack. And that's because, like I said, when it Mega Evolves, it doesn't really care about its attack stat anymore. Moveset-wise, we do have Protect, Draco Meteor, Hurricane, and Thunder. The last 2 moves are going to be what is boosted by the Rain, which is why we do have it on a Rain team. I think that if Dragonite does have any type of usage in a Mega format, it is going to have to be sitting on a Rain team just to take advantage of the special attacking moves that it gets. Because Hurricane and Thunder are both 100% accurate in the Rain. So Hurricane and Thunder outside of the Rain are obviously like very inaccurate moves, but inside of the Rain, they'll never miss. And a Hurricane and a Thunder coming from a Mega Dragonite, it's gonna hurt. It's not gonna be a fun thing to take. Draco Meteor is also going to be a big, hard-hitting, special attacking dragon move. Like I said, keep in mind that when it comes to Draco Meteor, it is going to also drop your special attack every single time that you use it. So just something to keep in mind in the back of your head. If you did want to reset that special attack stat, you are going to have to swap it, since Dragonite doesn't have a way to boost its own special attack like Archaludon. I think that's pretty much it for Dragonite. Yeah, I think Dragonite is also a very like straightforward pick for this team. There's going to be a big, hard-hitting special attacker that you're able to keep safe with double redirection. Which brings us to our last Pokemon on this Rain team, which is going to be Sinistcha. And Sinistcha obviously was a Pokemon that was introduced in Gen 9, and is probably going to be one of the most popular redirectors in the format going into Pokemon Champions. So Sinistcha is going to be holding the Citrus Berry, and it is going to have its ability Hospitality. Hospitality is nice because it is going to, upon switching, it is going to heal up any of Sinistcha's partners. So maybe your Dragonite took a little bit of damage and you want to bring Multi-Scale back. Toss it to Sinistcha, heal it back up to full, so then you can have your Multi-Scale back intact. Even for Pelipper, maybe Pelipper got faked out because you made a wrong read and it took a bit of chip damage and you don't want to lose your Pelipper next turn. Toss in Sinistcha, heal it back to full, your Focus Sash is back intact. Can you summarize? I told you I'm gonna make a YouTube video out of it, don't worry. I'll make a shorter, more concise version into a YouTube video. Dude, I love Sinistcha. She's such a great support Pokemon. Eevee-wise. Eevee-wise, she is going to have 236 in HP, 188 in defense, 4 in special attack, and 84 in... So, yes, special... 80 and 84 in special defense, sorry. It was in a weird... It looked weird, and I don't know why. Will this be on the exam? Yes. So for Sinistcha, we do want it to be on the bulkier side since it is going to be a support Pokemon. And it is holding the Citrus Berry just so that it can also, once again, take a little bit more damage and stay on the field for longer since it is going to get some HP recovery from the Citrus Berry. A live team review is better than the YouTube video with the cuts. Well, I'm glad. Percent never change. Sorry, I'm sweating. It's hot. I need to turn the fan on. Hold on. Oh my god. Eevee training? No, Eevee training is gonna be really easy in Champions. Hi, what's up? How much of our grade will this account for? All of it. 100%. How did the ETB go? Bro, said I have that effect on women. Stop. For its nature, you can also see that its nature is going to be bold, which if we look at the nature chart here, bold is going to boost defense and lower attack. So it all goes back to Sinistcha staying on the field for as long as possible and being able to take those physical hits a lot better. It also helps that Sinistcha is a ghost and grass type, which defensively is a great typing. And then its moveset is going to be basically a full support moveset. In the sense that since its moveset is going to be Matcha Gotcha, Rage Powder, Strength Sap, and Trick Room. So Matcha Gotcha and Strength Sap are going to be both going to be moves that are able to lower the attack stat of any opposing physical attackers. Since Matcha Gotcha, not only does it do damage and it does spread damage, but it also has a chance to burn. And obviously, if your opponent's physical Pokemon is burned, it's going to lower their damage output, which is something that you want. Rage Powder is going to be there to redirect. If there's a Pokemon with safety goggles, obviously you won't be able to redirect them. But if a Pokemon's not a grass type or wearing safety goggles, Rage Powder is going to be able to keep things like your Dragonite safe, things like your Basculegion safe, things like your Archaludon safe, or even things like your Pelipper safe if you are choosing to have Pelipper be your special attacker at that time. So this team is really nice because it does have two different redirectors, one that uses a powder move and one that doesn't use a powder move, and one that is completely immune to powder moves. Technically, they're both immune to powder moves since one's a grass type and one has safety goggles. So the support Pokemon on this team are basically there to keep all of their friends safe. Strength Sap is also going to lower the damage output that any physical attackers do as well, and it also helps Sinistcha gain back a little bit of HP at the same time. And then for Trick Room, you'll notice that our only form of speed control here is Tailwind. And if you wanted to reverse something like Trick Room, you have that as an option. Or even if you find yourself in a situation where your Pelipper is gone and you no longer have access to that Tailwind and there's Pokemon that are faster than you, you can set up that Trick Room and gain back that speed advantage. So Trick Room isn't always necessarily only there for like a Trick Room team. Sometimes it's there for you to utilize to either get out of Trick Room or put yourself in a better situation if your opponent has some form of speed control and you lost your form of speed control. What does Tailwind do? Tailwind doubles the speed of your Pokemon for 4 turns. If a Pokemon is EV trained in Gen 9, will they stay EV trained in Champions? We don't know yet. But the only thing that I do know is that if your Pokemon is trained in champions, like you use like your victory points to train a Pokemon that you brought to visit from a different game into champions, when if you choose to return that Pokemon back to its original game, it will not keep the training that you did in champions. It will go back to the way that it was before you sent it over to champions. Me either, dude. I'm excited for champions. Always wondered why the NPCs used. Huh? What NPCs are you fighting that use Tailwind? Back to the where did that question go? Because that was a good question. Now that we've gone over the whole team, where'd it go? Where'd Christian? Is Christian still here? Re-ask your question. I think it was, what 3 Pokemon would you bring, in order, or bring into an opposing weather team? I think that's what the question was. Oh, enjoy your movies. Oh, when facing your opponent's okay. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. So now that we've covered the entire team, I'm gonna go ahead and answer like any questions that people might have about the team. So the first question is, when facing opposing weather teams, what are the 3 guaranteed Pokemon that you should bring? So if you find yourself in a weather war, which you will find yourself in a weather war, especially in this format, because you're going to see a lot of Charizard Ys, you're going to see a lot of opposing rain teams, and you're going to see a lot of sand teams even. Maybe even some snow, because we do have Mega Frostlass now that can set the snow with snow warning. So what I personally would bring into an opposing weather team is going to be Pelipper is always going to be a must-have, because Pelipper is going to be able to set up its own weather. And so you're going to be able to basically nullify your opponent's weather if you swap in Pelipper into their weather. So if they have snow up, for example, and you swap in Pelipper, snow is going to be gone, and you're going to be able to set up Drizzle. They won't be able to set up Aurora Veil. Their Blizzards will become inaccurate, etc. Or if Mega Charizard or Charizard Mega Evolves and sets up the Sun with Drought, and you want to make sure that you not only make it their lives more difficult by having the damage of fire moves, because it'll be in the rain, but also give yourself the advantage by setting up your weather, throw in Pelipper after it Mega Evolves. And that's going to be like kind of like the song and dance that you're going to have to play. Pelipper is going to be like an integral part, especially in Weather Wars, because that is the quite literal only way on this team that you're able to set the weather. So Pelipper is definitely always a must bring into opposing weather teams. In addition to that, I would probably bring Archaludon, just because Archaludon is going to be good to bring, not only because it works well in the rain, but because it can also run outside of the rain. Archaludon is great into sand teams, since it is a steel type. It's not going to take any chip damage from Sandstorm. And if it gets hit on the physical side by things like Tyranitar, it's going to boost that body press, which is also going to be able to do some big damage into Tyranitar. Hi! No, we're talking about Pokemon Champions teams, not ZA teams. There's no competitive in ZA, so we're talking about like actual competitive Pokemon that you can use in Pokemon Champions. So I would definitely bring Archaludon, just because it does have utility outside of the rain as well. Just because you do have access to Body Press, you also have access to Snarl, so it can also serve as more of a supported Pokemon, a bulky supported Pokemon. And then if you don't have the opportunity to actually set up your Electro Shot in one turn because you don't have your rain set up, you can still go for a Draco Meteor and still get some big damage off like that as well. And then in addition to Archaludon and Pelipper, I would probably bring Maushold. I think that these 3 kind of make up like the core of this entire team, just because they all 3 of them kind of play off of each other, since you can set up your stamina with Maushold, you can redirect with Maushold. So if you did want to try to set up an Electro Shot and you don't have the rain, you can keep Archaludon safe with Maushold's Follow Me. You have your speed control with Pelipper, you have your rain with Pelipper. Pelipper also serves as a special attacker. Archaludon can special attack and it can also hit on the physical side. So I would say those 3 are probably like the main ones that I would bring into any opposing weather teams. I know, it's almost time. So I'd want to lead with Pelipper when I see a Sun team, or should I lead with a different Pokemon? So I wouldn't, not necessarily. You don't always have to start with your own weather. You can also quite simply start with something like Maushold and Archaludon if you just wanted to go straight for the beat up and kind of like wait and see if they try to set up their weather, and then if you want to swap in like a Pelipper for Maushold. But Maushold and Archaludon can also be an open. You could also do something like Maushold and Dragonite or Sinistcha and Dragonite. You could also do, I mean, Pelipper Archaludon is also an open that you could do. It just kind of depends. When it comes to opens, you just kind of have to look and see what your opponent's team has. I want to say a lot of the times, battles can be won in team preview, just because you do kind of have to look at your opponent and see like what their team consists of, and then look at your team and kind of basically map out the entire battle in your head. So you look at their team and say they're running like a Charizard Y team, and you see that they have like Whimsicott, Charizard, Incineroar. I'm trying to think of like what I used. Incineroar, Farigiraf, and Ursaluna. Something like that. You would want to see like, okay, they have like a slow mode and a fast mode. So what Pokemon can I bring in case of a Trick Room situation? So in that situation, you're like, okay, I want to make sure I bring Sinistcha. And if you think that they're going to open with Trick Room, you could probably open with Sinistcha and whatever attacker of your choice, like maybe Sinistcha and Archaludon. Or if you see that, if you think they're going to open with the Sun and you want to turn off their Sun immediately, you could go ahead and have Pelipper in the back and open with something else. Like I said, swap it in, whatever. But, and also you have to keep, you also have to keep in mind things like speed tiers, because whoever's the slower weather, so if like you send out, like if you send out Pelipper and Pelipper is slower than whatever is setting the weather on their team, whether they're setting it manually or with a Pokemon, like, because things like Torkoal can also set the sun, then whatever Pokemon is slower is going to be the one that weather is the winner, basically. So if somebody opens with like a Torkoal and Farigiraf, and you open with Pelipper and Archaludon, the sun's gonna be set up, not the rain. But I guess long story short, there's no like direct correct answer for how to open. It's all just kind of like matchup dependent, if that makes sense. I know, I'm really excited. You have a Torkoal on your Trick Room team? As you should. Torkoal's a great Trick Room Pokemon. Are there any other questions? Do we have any other questions on Rain Team? Feel free to ask. I will be doing viewer battles, yeah. Pokemon Battle Revolution. I didn't. Can I have your brain instead of learning is crazy. What's your question? When does Champions drop? In 2 days. Would you love Basculegion if he was a worm? He's already kind of worm-shaped, so I would think that I would still love him if he was a worm. Okay. Any other questions on Rain before I switch to Champions is free to start, yeah. It does give main character energy before I swap to the next team. How would I stop Hatterene and Indeedee Trick Room combo? So you mean like a hard Trick Room team? Sorry. God. I think the best way to combat something like a hard Trick Room team would definitely be to bring something like Sinistcha that can reverse the Trick Room. And if they don't have, if you can get rid of Indeedee, then you would be able to Aqua Jet, but I think you're just gonna have to either stall out the Trick Room and or turn off the Trick Room with Sinistcha. You can also bring in things like Pelipper that do have the Focus Sash. If you can't really get out of Trick Room, you at least know that you live 2 hits, and you can try and keep Pelipper safe with things like Sinistcha or Maushold that are able to redirect. But if you find yourself in like a size spam situation, you're gonna have to probably either, like I said, yeah, you're gonna have to reverse your Trick Room. You can also protect stall, because you do have 3 protects on this team. So if you want to put in something like Dragonite, Maushold, or Pelipper, they're able to protect stall, Trick Room, Dragonite's also a good option just because of that multi-scale, so it is able to kind of like Pelipper, take a couple of hits and stay on the field for a little bit longer, especially with Friend Guard once again. So I think those are probably going to be your best options. Archaludon would probably be a good option to bring too. It's not the fastest. It's not the slowest, but it's also not the fastest. So it's not a bad option to have in Trick Room. And then you can kind of disrupt the open with Snarl, since if it's Indeedee Hatterene, they don't really have a way to stop Snarl. So right away, if you start snarling with them, you're already going to be lowering the amount of damage output they do. Even if they do get the Trick Room off, you're able to mitigate the damage, and you're not going to be as unhappy in Trick Room as you were if you hadn't have snarled them. You're welcome. Perish Trap team? Listen, I love Perish Trap. That's one of my favorite strategies, but Perish Trap is very not beginner friendly unless you're me. Like, I'm terrible at piloting balance teams, which are inherently, like, beginner friendly. I don't know why, but one of the first strategies that I ever learned how to use and learned how to use well was Perish Trap. I don't know. But unfortunately, Perish Trap is, like, a really weird team to pilot. That too. We also don't know if Indeedee is going to be in the game at drop, and we also don't know if they're going to actually keep what is it called? If they're actually going, oh my god, if we're actually going to keep Trick Room on Indeedee Female, because technically that was not supposed to get Indeedee, or not Indeedee Female was not supposed to get Trick Room. That was like a mistake they never fixed. I feel like to play Perish Trap well, you have to be able to read your opponents well. I think so, yeah. I think the reason that Perish Trap is technically a high skill level team is because it's a lot of reading your opponent, and it's a lot of defensive play. So, exactly, yeah. It's very positional, it's very defensive, and you have to be able to read into your opponent and kind of like predict what they're going to do, in order to be able to, you know, trap them without having your Pokemon go down and, you know, pick up the KOs that you need. Is there a way we can win by building around some of our favorites? So right now, things like Hisu and Zoroark, we don't even know if they're going to be in the game yet. I'm using the teams that I'm going over right now are just, Pokemon that we know are confirmed to be in the game so far. So eventually, once we have the full-blown game, I can definitely go over like how to win with your favorites. But for now, we're just kind of going based off of the information that we have. Is Hisu and Zoroark confirmed? I didn't remember if it was or not. It was? Well then, eventually I do, yes, plan on making a video on how to win with your favorites. So, TBD. TBD, to be determined. Hard Trick Room, in your opinion, is fun, but doesn't teach fundamentals. Yeah, there's a lot of more, like, techie strategies that are really fun and can end up being, like, your favorite strategy. But if you're brand new, like, I wouldn't hand Hard Trick Room to a brand new player. Because Hard Trick Room, much like Perish Trap, is very positional. And if you're, especially with teams like Hard Trick Room, if your Trick Room gets shut down, your entire team basically gets shut down because you can't run outside of Trick Room and you just sit there and get hit. But, so yeah, so I wouldn't hand things like Hard Trick Room to a new player. I wouldn't hand things like Perish Trap to a new player. Thank you. Or anything that's like too techie. I wouldn't even hand Hyper Offense to a new player, or like Protect the President to a new player, just because teams like that are very frail and you have to be able to position your Pokemon very well. Otherwise, your attackers basically go down in 2 hits or 1 hit even. Oh, I'm glad that I could be helpful. Hi, Dodra! I love Tail Room. I do love Tail Room. The Sun team that I went over previously was a Tail Room team, because I think Tail Room is actually a great option to give new players, because it gives them so many different outs to either situation, because you have Pokemon that can run in Trick Room, or you have Pokemon that can run in Tailwind, or you can have Pokemon that can run in both. So yeah, I think that Tail Room is a great strategy, and I think it's really like beginner friendly just because you have so many options with it. Have I considered competitive coaching? No, I'm not that good. I think that I'm gonna do the starter pack for sure. I am debating on the membership because the membership gives you music, which is like the main draw for me. We talking bread and butter? Yeah, I love Tail Room. Any other questions on Rain before we swap to team number 2, which is not a weather-based team? Mm-hmm. I said play Pachirisu. Please. It's been eons since Pachirisu. Are we judging comp teams I'm sharing easy to use teams for people to use and champion. So Rain is better than Sun? No. I would say that Rain and Sun are probably the strongest teams going into champions right now, followed pretty closely by Sand. Sand is another team that I wouldn't really hand a beginner right away though, because Sand is kind of more positional as well. But yeah, I want to say going into champions, Sun and Rain are equally just as strong, and you're 100% going to be finding yourself in weather wars. So you're basically going to be fighting over who keeps control of the weather, and whoever is able to preserve their weather for longer and use the weather to their advantage is going to end up being the person that wins that battle. Membership is $50. Okay, but this is my job, so I can justify it because it's my job, but I'm not saying that anybody else needs to get the membership. This season... Oh, no weather. Oh, yeah. No, you gave your friend a sand team. What about a team where the team is pretty and cute but lethal? I think that cute is in the eye of the beholder. Yeah, it's gonna be weather is gonna be huge for sure. Like somebody said earlier in the stream, this is basically gonna be like Regulation H light because it's just gonna be like Reg H plus Mega. No, hey, Maushold is cute. Dragonite's cute. Sinistra's cute. Pelipper's a toilet. I know, poor Clefairy, dude. Weather versus Trick Room, who has the advantage? I think it just depends on team composition. Just because, like, and they're also not necessarily mutually exclusive, because you can also have Trick Room and Weather on one team, because you have things like Torkoal that love Trick Room, but also set up the sun, and then Torkoal takes advantage of the sun and hits the giant eruptions or the heat waves if it does take enough damage so that eruption doesn't do extra damage. Things like that. So I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. I just think it kind of depends on team build. I don't think one has the advantage over the other, and I think that it would probably be... I think that Weather actually works best when it does have some form of speed control. Is Orthoworm cute? Yes. Planning on building a team around Raichu? I need to see what its ability is before I try to plan a team around it, but I would absolutely love to run Raichu Y myself. So TBD on Raichu Y. You have a Rangaroo? Oh yeah, a Rangaroo and Torkoal are like 2 peas in a pod. I think Rain would do pretty good at that. You can probably take the same Rain team and put Meganium on it in the Dragonite slot and call it a day. Are we talking about for like Trick Room teams? What are we talking about? Mega Halucha, I would love to know that ability too. Do I think that Frostlass is better with or without the Megastone? I think that with the Megastone, it gets a great ability because it sets up the weather for itself, and it's able to actually take advantage of its special attack stat. So I would say that it benefits from Mega-ing. Do we know if Solar Beam is weaker in Rain yet? Oh, no, honestly, we don't know anything about that yet, no. If Mega Raichu Y gets Electric Surge, I think that would be great. I do think that that would be great. Okay. If that's everything, we're gonna swap to Team 2. Weather Ball and Mega Soul? Yeah. That's true. Okay, Team 2. Team 2. Let me turn on the little... There we go. That way we can see it all. So far, for the beginner-friendly teams, I focused on Sun and Rain, just because I think both of those teams do tend to be more beginner-friendly, just because they all kind of work together synergistically. But this team relies on no weather. So if you didn't want to partake in the Weather Wars, this is going to be a great team for you to try out going into Champions. Mega Raichu Y would be broken with that ability. I agree. What comp am I going to run first, Rain or Sun? Personally, I think I would probably start with Sun. I've always been more of a Sun player than a Rain player. So I think if I was going to choose a weather team to play myself, I would go with Sun. Yes, I'm doing beginner-friendly teams for people that might be going into Pokemon Champions and not knowing what to bring or have never played comp. That way they can pilot teams like this without having to get into more like techie teams. Because I think when you're new, you can definitely fall victim to trying to use teams that like your favorite competitive players use to win like tournaments and stuff, or that they themselves build. But because they've been playing for so long, a lot of their teams tend to be a higher skill level and tend to be more on the technical side, especially when it comes to like the EVs and why their Pokemon are EV'd a certain way, why their moves are a certain move set, and why specific Pokemon are on their team. Whereas these teams are kind of just like straightforward and easy to use so that you can get used to playing the game and using a team that works together well without having for you to position it like anything crazily. Does every Pokemon look to the left? Yes. I'm glad that you like the beginner guides. So for this team, when we do go over the final slot for this team, I am going to mention that there are, if it's not looking left, it's not right. Oh my god. If you're not, I am going to mention when we get to this point that the final slot on this team is very customizable. But we'll get there when we get there. Let me pull up my notes for this one too. Okay. Pidgeot looks to the right? Oh. Give me a big power team and let me figure it out. Oh. That's what happens when people like Wolf win tournaments and then everybody on the ladder tries to run his Parish Song teams and everybody gets clapped. Because they don't know how to use it. So you wouldn't be the first one. I want to try to get into competitive Pokemon, but I haven't played any Pokemon game in nearly 7 years and only have Pokemon Bank to use for transferring home. The good thing is that you don't even need to bring Pokemon into Champions in order to actually start playing, because you're going to be able to recruit Pokemon in the game and train them with victory points, which you earn by literally just like playing the game. Is Incineroar nerfed a little bit? And is it still good to use? Yeah. Incineroar is still a really good support Pokemon. It's just that it looks like it doesn't have knockoff anymore, which is fine. It's not like it's gonna break Incineroar if it doesn't get knockoff, but it's definitely gonna be less broken than it was before. Brute Force is crazy. Mario Kart? No. Okay, so for this team, like I said, this team specifically doesn't rely on any kind of weather. It just kind of relies on overall being good Pokemon. So first off, we have Metagross, who is going to be our Mega for this team. And before it Megas, it is going to actually, oh my god, sorry, that was really loud. Let me look up something real quick. Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. So before Metagross Megas, it is going to have the ability Clear Body, which is going to make it so that Metagross's stats can't be lower. Oh my god, sorry for stuttering. Which is going to make it which is going to make it so that Metagross's stats can't be lowered. So if something like Incineroar comes onto the field and tries to use Intimidate, it's not going to be able to be intimidated or anything like similar to that. And it can't be its stats can't be lowered by moves like what's a move that lowers a stat? Whoa! Whoa! Did y'all see my brain stop working? Whoa! Dude, that was crazy! Icy Wind, thank you. Yeah, so something like Icy Wind won't be able to lower its speed. That was wild, sorry. Well, let me drink a water. Icy Wind was the one that I was thinking of. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so if it's something like an Icy Wind comes out, you won't be able to get its speed lowered. Slow and steady. For its EVs, it is going to be 4 in HP, 252 in attack, 4 in special defense, and 252 in speed. So much like a lot of the other Pokemon that we were talking about on the previous teams, it's going to want to hit hard and hit fast. So Metagross is here for a good time, not a long time. It's also going to have a Jolly Nature, which Jolly is not one that we've gone over just yet. So Jolly Nature, if you find it here on the type chart, which I'm blind. There it is. Jolly Nature is going to increase speed and lower special attack, and that's because we are going to be attacking physically with Metagross specifically. So we don't really care if it gets its special attack. So we don't really care if it gets its special attack dropped. As for its moveset, it is going to be running Protect, Heavy Slam, Psychic Fangs, and Stonking. Wow. Stonks! And Stomping Tantrum. And so you'll see that Metagross doesn't really have a way to like do any type of setup, and that's because Metagross is one of Metagross's best friends is going to be Sneasler on this team. This is going to be a very interesting Sneasler. If you're used to Sneasler being more of just like an attack Pokemon that you want to Dire Claw with and hope for like a sleep, this one is going to do that, but it's also going to serve a support role as well. So it's going to be mixed with this Sneasler. So this Sneasler is going to be holding the White Herb, which means that if it gets its stats lowered, it's actually going to bring the stats back up to whatever they were originally supposed to be. So if it gets hit by an Icy Wind, it is going to bring its stats back, or its speeds back up to normal. If it uses Close Combat, it's going to go ahead and reset the defense drop as well. Stalking Tantrum. I am getting ready for Pokemon Champions. Anything like that. So the White Herb is a consumable item, so that will only work once. However, the reason that we have White Herb on it in order to do that is because Sneasler has the ability Unburden. So what Unburden does is that it is going to increase Sneasler's speed if it is no longer holding a held item. So if you have Sneasler and you get hit by an Icy Wind and your White Herb gets consumed, Unburden is activated. Or if you use Close Combat to manually get rid of your own White Herb, then you will activate Unburden. And that's Sneasler's favorite ability. It likes to fly. And nobody cares about Poison Touch or whatever its other ability is because Dire Claw is right there. My favorite move, Stonking Tantrum. For its EVs, Sneasler is going to be for its EVs, Sneasler is going to have 4. Oh my god. Run that back again. For its EVs, Sneasler is going to have 4. Yo, am I okay? For its EVs, it is going to have 4 in HP, 252 in attack, 4 in special defense, and 252 in speed. Try it again. Take 6. Okay, I can do it better. Look at it. Okay. For its EVs, it is going to have 4 in HP, 252 in attack, 4 in special defense, and 252 in speed. So Sneasler, much like Metagross, is here for a good time, not a long time, but it is going to be hitting fast and hitting hard, especially with Unburden activated. We also have an Adamant Nature for Sneasler, which, if you remember, Adamant Nature is going to boost attack. Where'd it go? There it is. Adamant Nature is going to boost attack and it's going to lower special attack. Sneasler could care less about its special attack. We just want to be boosting its attack stat. Keep in mind, not everybody runs Adamant Sneasler. some people do run Jolly Sneasler. So you are going to have to pay attention if you find yourself, for whatever reason, in a Sneasler on Sneasler matchup. That your Sneasler may underspeed somebody else's Sneasler simply because they're running a Jolly nature. However, you are going to be able to pick up KOs that they don't pick up. Personally, I like Adamant Sneasler because I like to make things disappear. But Jolly nature is also an option if you did just want to make sure that you're outspeeding like another Sneasler or something. Imagine calling someone a Jolly Sneasler. Oh, man. As for its moveset, it is going to be running Protect, Close Combat, Dire Claw, and Coaching. We've already talked about Close Combat a lot, but obviously Protect is there for very obvious reasons. You want to keep Sneasler safe, you want to slow down the game, you want to scout, whatever. Protect is always important in VGC. Close Combat, since Sneasler is a fighting and poison type, it is going to be a stab move, and it's also going to have the added benefit of activating your own white herb if you don't get it activated by anything else. So not only does it hurt, but it also makes you faster. Dire Claw is a funny move because it has the chance to either paralyze, poison, or sleep your opponent. And sometimes when you're in a game, things like a random sleep or a random paralysis are going to be very useful. Even a random poison, just to do that little extra tick of damage if you just barely miss a KO. However, the reason that I said that Sneasler is going to be not only an attacking Pokemon, but kind of a support Pokemon, and is going to also be Mega Metagross's best friend, is because of Coaching. So if you've never used Coaching before, Coaching is going to raise the... Let me get the... Is it +1? Let me see, hold on. One moment. One moment, please. Why does this never give me the number? One stage, okay. So it is going to Coaching is going to raise the attack stat and defense stat by 1 stage for its partner. So if you have Sneasler next to Metagross and you use Coaching, it's going to increase attack and defense by 1 stage. Pirate talk is crazy. Which obviously, which kind of goes back to what I was saying with Metagross earlier. Since Metagross doesn't really have a way to increase its own stats, Sneasler is able to do that for it. So it's going to make Metagross bulkier, and it's also going to make it hit harder. So it could get to a point where Metagross is actually no longer a more frail Pokemon and is able to actually take some big physical hits if you're able to get a couple of Coachings off with Sneasler. On top of that, since Sneasler is already naturally fast, and if you activate Unburden, Coaching is going to be moving before majority of the rest of the board state, so that you are able to get those boosts on Metagross quickly. It's also nice because you have the Protect on Metagross. Coaching goes through Protect. So if you don't want Metagross to get hit for 1 turn, but you still want to boost its defense and attack stat with Coaching, you're still able to protect it and still get the benefit of Coaching. Did I miss a question? Oh god. Did I miss a question? Let me scroll up. What did I miss? If you're going Stomping Tantrum, I'd replace Heavy Slam with Meteor Mash to take advantage. Huh? I feel like I'm... Yeah, Coaching goes through Protect. I feel like I missed this entire question, but I think Moonlight got it okay. If you want to give me a summary, that would be sick. Hello! So these two work together great just because of that specific pairing. The next Pokemon that you'll see is one of the most popular Pokemon in VGC, and it's popular for a reason, just because it is one of the best support Pokemon in the game, unfortunately. And that's going to be Incineroar. Why Darkest Lariat? Because to our knowledge, it no longer gets access to knockoff. Meteor Mash can be good to take advantage of the mischance for double damage. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm just gonna say it looks like the question was answered. So, GG's. Yeah, it's gonna be on mobile later on. No. Pokemon Champions is gonna have its own its own regulation. It's gonna be megas. It's not gonna be terrestrialization anymore. Right, but it doesn't really you don't really need the chance to boost your attack because you have Sneasler next to you. Which is why I kind of just went over why Sneasler and Metagross have great synergy, because you're able to use coaching into Metagross and even get your coaching boost through Protect if you so choose to keep Metagross safe for a turn. That way you can get a guaranteed defense and attack boost. And since Sneasler is so fast, you're able to get multiple off, which is more beneficial than chancing a +1 attack on a move. Going back to Incineroar. So Incineroar specifically, so this specific Incineroar is going to be my favorite Incineroar to run, which is bulky Assault Vest Incineroar. Nah, thank you for the tip, but cannot relate. Yes, I believe that's why they named it MA. So its ability is going to be Intimidate, just because that is its #1 used ability, and probably one of the best abilities in general in VGC. And then its EVs are going to be 252 HP, 124 in attack, 12 in defense, and 124 in special defense, which obviously we are bulking up its special defense with the Assault Vest, as well as the 124 EVs that we have in special defense. And then we want to make sure just in general that it has a lot of bulk to it, just with that 252 in HP. Now, the reason that I like to run Assault Vest over any other held item is because I value picking up KOs more than I value dropping stats. Which, because of the Assault Vest, you're not able to run any status moves. So you can't run something like Parting Shot on this specific Incineroar. But you'll see from the nature that we give it, which is Adamant, which we know is going to boost its attack, and its moveset, which is Flare Blitz, Darkest Lariat, Fake Out, and U-Turn, that we have options to be able to pick up KOs if necessary. Because Incineroar's attack stat is actually nothing to scoff at, Flare Blitz is able to pick up a lot of really great KOs, whether it's a Pokemon that is kind of on the lower end of health, or even if it's a Pokemon that has a fire weakness, it's able to pick up those KOs without you having to put any of your other, like, more frail Pokemon in danger. So that's why I prefer this specific type of Incineroar over one that runs Parting Shot. Darkest Lariat, to our knowledge, Fake Out is no longer a thing that Incineroar gets. So Darkest Lariat also just serves as another stab move that is able to do damage, which is good for coverage because you're not going to be Flare Blitzing into everything. You know, you're not going to want to Flare Blitz into like a water type, for example. Sorry, not Fake Out. Knockoff is what I meant. Yes. Yes. To our knowledge, Incineroar no longer gets knockoff, which is why Darkest Lariat is there in order to be a coverage move, and a coverage move that takes advantage of Incineroar's stab, since Incineroar is a fire and dark type Pokemon. So that way you are able to, like I said, use that to do damage to things that you might not want to Flare Blitz into. Y'all really just out here being some actuallys. Very nice. The next move that you'll see is Fake Out, just because Fake Out is going to be a really good support move, since it is going to cause your opponent's Pokemon to flinch, as well as do a little bit of damage. So Fake Out is good because not only does it make the Pokemon flinch, which means that it makes your opponent's Pokemon vulnerable to any damage, since it won't be able to move, but it can also prevent your opponent from setting up things like Tail Room. But it can also prevent your opponent's Pokemon from setting up things like Tailwind, Trick Room, things like Taunt, or anything of the sort, since Fake Out is going to be a priority move. You can even fake out things like Whimsicott, who does have Prankster, who would be able to set up things like Instant Tailwind or Instant Sunny Day, etc. If it doesn't run a Covert Cloak, which obviously prevents flinching. So Fake Out is really good for that. Also, Fake Out has utility into things like Dragonite now, since we know that Dragonite gets multiscale when it megas. Even if your opponent's Dragonite is running Inner Focus before it megas, so it can't technically be flinched, you would still be able to hit it with a Fake Out. It would still move first, it would still do damage, and technically that would break the multiscale, because Dragonite would no longer be full HP. So even if it mega'd after that, because you didn't flinch, it would lose its multiscale. And then U-turn is there just to be able to get you out of any situations that you might be stuck in and you want to get Incineroar off of the field to pivot to a different Pokemon. And it also comes in handy in situations where you're stuck in like Shadow Tag, because Mega Gengar has Shadow Tag, and obviously one of Mega Gengar's favorite things to do is trap Pokemon on the field and Perish Song them. U-turn allows you to break out of that Perish Trap or any other type of like field trapping move, since U-turn does switch it out. Tuned in! Hi! What's up, Florcy? Bro gonna be like, actually, I'm gonna take notes on whatever bro's saying and tell her how bad she is, after stream. Fake Out on a Mega Dragonite is very bad. Why? I love U-turn. Everything makes sense. Oh, I'm good. I'm glad. I'm glad that I'm not embarrassing myself. I'm waiting for this question to be answered. Why is Fake Out bad? Because it loses the multiscale? Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why this is my specific favorite Incineroar, is just because I prefer, like I said, I prefer to pick up like important KOs rather than lower stats. But you can, if you prefer an Incineroar if you prefer something like a parting shot on your Incineroar, you can also run different items. Incineroars like to run safety goggles, they like to run rocky helmets, some of them have even run berries. This is just my personal favorite. I prefer a bulkier Incineroar that is able to be utilized as some type of damage dealing Pokemon, in addition to being literally one of the best support Pokemon in the game. It has no ability? It does. It does have an ability. Yeah, no, Dragonite officially has multiscale as a Mega. But before you Mega, you can either be Inner Focus or you can be multiscale, whichever. Correct, yeah, no, Incineroar cannot Mega Evolve. So I think I feel like you don't really need to explain why Incineroar is a good Pokemon, just because in general, it just has a great support moveset. And then even going back to U-turn, even breaking out of like any like trapping move, U-turn is also great in order for you to start Intimidate cycling, since you're able to U-turn out of there, pivot into a different Pokemon, and if you look at the Pokemon directly next to Incineroar, you can even just immediately Intimidate cycle if you do happen to have Gyarados and Incineroar at the same time. Is it ideal? No, but it is also an option because of Sneasler. We'll get to that in a second. But if you U-turn, you pivot Incineroar out of there, you can toss in Gyarados, Intimidate with Gyarados, and you can also bring Incineroar back in at a later time and hit Intimidate again. Intimidate cycling is going to be one of the most annoying things for a team of physical attackers to deal with, because every single time you bring in an Intimidate Pokemon, it is going to drop their attack stat by 1 stage. So if you're able to keep Intimidate cycling, you can kind of similar to how I was explaining with Snarl Archaludon going into something like a Trick Room team that relies on Psy Spam. It is going to be able to mitigate the amount of damage that they're doing, so that you basically don't have to worry about them like barring a crit. Okay, I'll move on to Gyarados right now. But so moving on to Gyarados. Gyarados is going to be a second option as an Intimidate Pokemon. So he is going to be more of a support Pokemon as well. We do have him holding the Safety Goggles item. And then its EVs are going to be 252 in HP, 52 in attack, 48 in defense, 156 in special defense, and 4 in speed. And it is going to have a careful nature, which if we go to our defense chart if we go to our nature chart one more time, where is careful? Why am I blind? There it is. Careful nature is going to raise special defense while lowering special attack. So, the reason why we are doing that is because we want to make sure that Gyarados takes special attacks a lot better. Gyarados has the lovely quad weakness to electric type moves. So we want to help bro a little bit, okay? But in addition to that, its moveset is going to be Waterfall, Taunt, Thunder Wave, and Helping Hand. So far, if you haven't noticed, we don't have any form of speed control until we look at Gyarados. So Thunder Wave is going to be your main source of speed control on this team. Not only does Thunder Wave lower the speed of whatever Pokemon becomes paralyzed, I saw rumors about them possibly changing the amount of speed that gets lowered, so I'm not going to speak to the amount the speed gets lowered by until that's confirmed, but just know that it does lower the speed of whatever Pokemon is paralyzed. And in addition to that, I know I'm gonna cry too. I saw that like on Twitter and I was like, please don't do that. That's like the best part of Thunderwave. But in addition to lowering your opponent's speed, it also has the chance for them to not move at all if they are fully paralyzed. So not only are you getting speed control with Thunderwave, but you're also getting possibly just a free turn. The rest, you'll also see the majority of Gyarados' moves are going to be support moves. So something like Taunt. Taunt is going to be great because it's going to be able to shut down things like Trick Room. And since it's not Prankster, it won't be affected by anything like, what is it called? Farigiraf, who has Armor Tail and prevents priority. So you'll be able to shut down Trick Room with this or any other type of like status move that you might not want to deal with. I hope that it gets like Electric Surge. And then Helping Hand is obviously going to be there to help any of your attacking Pokemon do more damage, since it is going to be +1 for that one turn. So if it's sitting next to Metagross and you Helping Hand into Metagross, it's going to be +1 in attack for that turn. If it's sitting next to Sneasler, same thing. Or if it's sitting next to Hydreigon, same thing. If it's sitting next to Incineroar even, same thing. But you'll see that it also does have one attacking move, which is Waterfall. And so if you wanted to, you could sit Sneasler next to Gyarados, and you could coach into it, which would raise its defense as well as its attack, and then have this Waterfall hit harder than it would have previously. Not only that, Waterfall doesn't only hit your opponent, it also has the chance to make you flinch, which I have reoccurring nightmares about, because the first regional that I ever went to and competed in, I went up against a Gyarados, and I was in a winning position, and they had Waterfall on their Gyarados, and they flinched me 3 times in a row. So they were able to win because I didn't move for 3 turns. So that was great. But so Waterfall has some utility, not only to do damage, it can also cause a flinch. And then if you sit it next to Sneasler, you can increase the amount of damage that Waterfall does. And you also increase the amount of defense that Gyarados has as well. I'm sorry for your trauma. Me too. Me too. Bro said I was hired after that regional. You were. That is correct. Yeah, I got triple flinched. I think it was probably like my second battle of the day too. It was not ideal, but it's okay. It did not discourage me. It did not discourage. My opponent actually apologized. My opponent was like, "I'm so sorry." I was like, "It's okay. It's not your fault." But since no Amoonguss is in the game, not confirmed at least, should we change the item? You mean safety goggles? No. No, just because Amoonguss isn't in the game doesn't mean that Sinistcha is not in the game, because Sinistcha can still Rage Powder. Because, like I mentioned earlier, safety goggles doesn't just prevent things like Spore, it ignores powder moves. So you can't be redirected with Gyarados. wearing the safety goggles. So, and Sinistcha stakes are way up there right now in the current meta. Trauma from hard Trick Room. Oh no. I am, in fact, a competitive player, yes. Which is why it's always funny when people come into like my playthrough streams when I use like silly teams and they're like, do you not know your type matchups? You're so bad at Pokemon. And then here I am, teaching an entire lesson on Pokemon. Oh, man. How he's clapping? With his tail, dude. Duh. With his tail. That too, yeah. There's also things like Venusaur that are running sleep powder as well, so Gyarados wouldn't be able to be sleep powdered by Venusaur either. Yeah, there's not a lot of follow me Pokemon, unfortunately. And then she destroys them during beer battles. I know. Yeah, I think that was everything. Did I hit all my points on Gyarados? Let me make sure. Let me look at my notes, make sure I hit all the points on Gyarados. Where'd it go? Oh, yes, that is a great point that I actually almost missed. What is it called? If you look at the 3 Pokemon that we've already gone over so far, there's like a really big there's like a really big ground weakness, right? Because Metagross is weak to ground, Sneasler is weak to ground, and Incineroar is weak to ground. I think I already went over Taunt. So we have so far out of 6 Pokemon, half the team is weak to ground, right? And so Gyarados is nice because it kind of deals with the fact that like it just can't get hit by ground moves, because not only is it a water type, it's a flying type, which like I mentioned earlier, that is a quad weakness to electric, but it is nice to have into any ground type Pokemon, especially with Waterfall in our moveset. Because it helps you deal with things like Mega Garchomp or even like opposing Ursalunas, which you will see Ursaluna run on a lot of teams as well, just because it is just a generally good ground type attacker. No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, so Gyarados kind of helps deal with the fact that we already have like half the team being weak to ground types, and we can no longer tear away from that weakness. So he's good in that sense. And he's a good bring against like opposing ground type Pokemon. A nasty worm, an Alaskan bullworm. I know Pokemon. I know that I had dragons in Pokemon Champion. That's why I got on the team. 1 second. I'll go over the last 2 in a second. Let me use the restroom real quick because I've been chugging my water. BRB. 1 moment, please. I also refilled my water bottle and it's dripping. Okay. Yeah, I think I was done with Gyarados, right? Let me make sure. I think I was done with Gyarados. Yes. Yes. Okay, I think I hit everything for Gyarados. Okay, cool. Moving on to Sinistcha, which is our next support Pokemon here. What did I write? Hold on. Oh yes, okay. So our next Pokemon it's going well. It's going well. Oh, this is going well. I'm doing amazing, chat. Yes. I mean, matcha is tea, so. Moving on to our next support Pokemon, Sinistcha. We have already gone over Sinistcha a couple of times, but this Sinistcha is holding the Citrus Berry item, and it is going to have the Hospitality ability, which, like I mentioned, before, Hospitality does have the benefit of healing your partner when you switch Sinistcha in. So if you are trying to keep things like Metagross healthy, which doesn't have, obviously, a lot of, like, bulk investment, or something like Sneasler healthy, which also doesn't have a lot of bulk investment, it's great to bring in Sinistcha to just kind of heal them up a little bit so that they can just be on the field for a little bit longer. For its EVs, it is going to be 252 in HP, 188 in defense, 4 in special attack, and 68 in special defense. So just going to be like an overall bulky support Pokemon. It is going to have the bold nature, which once again is going to raise defense and it's going to lower attack. As for its moveset, it is going to be running Matcha Gotcha, Rage Powder, Strength Sap, and Trick Room. The Matcha Gotcha and the Strength Sap are going to lower the damage output of any opposing physical attacking Pokemon. Since Matcha Gotcha does, of course, have the chance to burn, it also does a little bit of damage since it is going to be a spread move. And then Strength Sap is there to help heal up Sinistcha a little bit, help keep it healthy, and also lower your opponent's attack as well. We also have like Trick Room support here, since obviously, like I said, this team kind of is slightly lacking in the speed control other than like Thunder Wave. So we do have Trick Room as an option here as well if you want to set up Trick Room or if you want to break out of Trick Room. Yeah, you don't. Oh my god, this motorcycle is ridiculous. That was. Oh. You guys heard that, right? That was crazy. Bro said Reveroom confirm. Yeah, you don't want to burn Ursalunas. But yeah, pretty straightforward when it comes to support Pokemon. Sinistcha is just an overall, like I said, Sinistcha is going to overall just be a good support Pokemon, and it's going to be a very popular support Pokemon just because of Rage Powder, redirecting, the fact that it can heal with Hospitality, and the fact that it does have the ability to lower any damage output from physical attackers, and then we just, once again, have the Trick Room support. Lastly, in the last slot, we do have Hydreigon. Like I mentioned earlier, this last slot is very customizable. There's obviously no special attacker on this team right now, which is why Hydreigon was able to be slotted in there. I am going to go over Hydreigon and what it's trying to basically achieve. But then after we go over Hydreigon, I am going to have a couple of different suggestions that you could also pretty easily slot into this team as well. What's unfair? That's Miraidon? Oh, I know. He's like, let me into champions. Let me in. Put me in, coach. Is this person straight up doing laps? Is this person doing laps? What's going on? They're ridiculous. Okay. Oh, man. So Hydreigon is here because, like I said, there is no special attacker on this team. Everything is physical so far. Nothing is hitting on the special side. So for Hydreigon, we do have it holding the Life Orb item just so we can get that little bit of damage boost. Keep in mind that if you are using the Life Orb, yes, you get your damage boost, but you do have the slight drawback of taking a little bit of HP chip every time you do deal any kind of damage. I believe it's 1/8 of your max HP chip. Somebody correct me if that's incorrect. He wants you to tell him how cool he is. Oh, no. It's 1/10? Is it? Where did I get 1/8 from? I don't know where I got 1/8 from, honestly. What does anything do 1/8 damage, or did I just like make that up in my head? I'm literally trying to like search ferociously. You might be right. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know where I got 1/8. I'm searching. I don't know. I'm trying to look, dude. What is the Life Orb chip? Where did I get 1/8? Something did 1/8. That's what I'm saying. Something does 1/8, and I don't remember what it is. Okay, but so Life Orb is going to do 10% of your HP chip every time that you do any type of damage dealing move. Hydreigon's ability is going to be Levitate, which does also help in the weakness to ground department. Not that like what. It's just, which is nice to have just because we do have 3 ground weaknesses. So Hydreigon can never get hit by a ground type move. So even if you find yourself in front of like an Ursaluna, this would be actually a really good Pokemon to have in an Ursaluna matchup. Ursaluna would only be able to hit you with like a Facade. It would never be able to hit you with an Earthquake or a Headlong Rush or anything like that. And then for its EVs, it is going to be 4 HP, 4 defense, 252 special attack, and 252 speed. So it is going to be a fast and hard-hitting special attack. It is going to be a fast and hard-hitting special attacker. And then it does also have that timid nature, which is also going to further boost its speed. So Hydreigon is going to be a very speedy Pokemon. As for its moveset, it is going to be running Protect, Draco Meteor, Dark Pulse, and Earth Power. So with your moveset, you of course have your very important Protect, which is important for all of the reasons that I've gone over many times. Draco Meteor is going to do a ton of damage just because of the stab and also because of the 30% boost that it's getting from the Life Orb. Dark Pulse as well is going to take advantage of the stab as well as the Life Orb boost. And Dark Pulse has the chance to flinch, right? Double checking before I speak. Dark Pulse. Yes. And not oh my god. And not only does Dark Pulse have the oh my god, what was I saying? So not only does Dark Pulse have the advantage of the stab boost as well as the Life Orb boost, but it also has the added benefit of having a 20% chance to flinch. And then Earth Power is also just a really good coverage move as well, since it is going to be hitting hard into opposing Incineroars, especially Incineroars that are not running the Assault Vest, or just anything else that you might want to be hitting with a ground type move. Like a poison Pokemon, like a Sneasler, or even another Metagross. It just doesn't flinch for you. I know, that's why I didn't know what the percent was. Happy 8 months! Did we ever figure out? Did we ever figure out what does 1/8 chip? Poison? Oh, that's what it is. Poison. Okay, there we go. Okay, poison is 1/8. Okay, I was like, I knew that 1/8 was something. Get out of here with your freaking pledge. That was definitely not what I was thinking. That was the furthest thing from what I was thinking of. I'm not thinking about pledge. Hold on, let me freaking fix the sun. I almost fell. It's fine. Oh, solar power! Okay, there we go. Okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So pretty straightforward when it comes to Hydreigon, but like I said, this last slot is super customizable. Where'd my notes go? Oh, before I actually do that, another Pokemon that it's also good into, I just remember because of Earth Power, is also Gengar. Gengar wishes that he had Levitate still, but no, he does not. He can also get hit by Earth Power as well. Did I miss anything else about Hydreigon before I move on from Hydreigon? I think that should be it. Yeah, I think that should be it. Yeah, so it's good into a couple of different matchups, like the Gengar matchup, it's better into the Garchomp matchup. It is also faster than Dragonite, so if you wanted to Draco Meteor into a Dragonite, you have that option. And yep. Yeah, those are, yeah, so it's good into a couple of different matchups. You can also, instead of having Hydreigon in this slot, you can also slot in something like Primarina, since Primarina would actually make this a really good, what is it called? What was I saying? Primarina, yes. Yes. Since Primarina would also be a good special attacker to slot in here instead of Hydreigon. Or you could even slot in something like Volcarona. Which when it comes to Volcarona, obviously Volcarona can set itself up so that it can do big damage there. Plus Volcarona is just annoying in general because it stays on the field for forever and it burns everything. What else can we do here? That's also a good point. If you wanted to not replace Hydreigon and actually keep Hydreigon on the team, another member that you could replace is Gyarados. So instead of Gyarados, you could slot in Primarina into that slot as well. Since if you're able to, since if you slot out Gyarados here, you would actually end up having a Fairy Dragon Steel Core. If you wanted to go that route as well, since that is another very like popular and very defensively good core and offensively good core to have. So you could also slot in Primarina for the Gyarados position. You could, who else? Let's see. Technically, you also have Fire, Water, Grass as well. You have both cores at that point. Yeah, you have both. You actually have both cores at that point, since Primarina is also a water Pokemon. So you would have Incineroar, Primarina, and Sinistcha as your Fire, Water, Grass core, and then Primarina is a Fairy Pokemon. So you would have the Fairy, Dragon, and Steel core between Primarina, Hydreigon, and Metagross. So you would actually be able to have both cores. So that's also an option that you can go with as well. You can also slot in Archaludon instead of Hydreigon for the last slot. The downside to that is that you have now a fourth weakness to ground. But it would be a better situation into like opposing rain teams if you did have an Archaludon in that slot as well. Have we talked about Fire, Water, Grass Core? I didn't have a specific team. Fire, Water, Grass Cores are something that I did start talking about in my VGC 201 series, which is where I'm kind of going over all of like the basics of team building. So I have covered it, just not specifically today. And then lastly, one last option that you have to slot in instead of Hydreigon, if you don't want a special attacker, if you feel like you don't need a special attacker, you can just slot in Dragonite instead, not Mega Dragonite, just regular Dragonite, for another like big physical attacker. That way you can outrage, you can low kick, you can extreme speed, and kind of do whatever you want. Like, you could do, like, Life Orb on it if you wanted to have access to your Protect, or you could do, like, the traditional Choice Band Dragonite if you just wanted to go for the big damage. And then that would also give you another option to pair with Sneasler, since Sneasler would be able to coach into that slot as well, if you did want to use that as another physical attacker like Dragonite. Mega Kangaskhan and Glamora? Champions is digital because it's going to come to mobile as well. That's probably why they just want to keep everything digital. Any questions for this team specifically that we need answers to? Oh. I have another team that we can go over after this. But first, go back to that. How to handle Sun teams with this team? It's a great question. How would I handle a Sun team with this team? I'm trying to think what I would do. Probably when it comes to Sun, would have to kind of rely on Gyarados for the speed control. With Thunderwave, just to make sure that you're hitting first so you don't take 10 billion damage. Hydreigon would be a good option if you do end up using Hydreigon, just because Dragon is going to resist any fire moves. If it's Dragonite, same thing. If you end up slotting in Primarina instead of Gyarados, you have her as an option as well. You also have the Sneasler route that you could take if you felt the need to gamble on Dire Claw to once again get any sleeps or paralysis and just kind of overall hit hard first, since Sneasler is going to be hitting neutral. You have Incineroar. Incineroar is actually really good into the fire type matchup just because they can't really do anything to Incineroar, and majority of the fire Pokemon that you're going to see on like Sun teams are going to be special attackers. So with the Assault Vest, plus the fact that like in general it's not going to be taking a lot of damage from fire type moves, Incineroar is a good option here, and that's where things like Darkest Lariat also come in handy as your coverage move, since obviously you're not going to be Flare Blitzing into opposing fire types either. So you can always Darkest Lariat to get your damage there. Sinistcha is probably going to be putting in a lot of work, kind of healing, and probably Trick Rooming as well if you find yourself underspeeding a lot. So you could probably set up a Trick Room with her. Yeah, I think that's probably like the slot that probably the route that I would take. Or if you wanted to put anything else here that you think would be a better matchup into a Sun team, like I said, this slot is very customizable. So you could probably slot in anything else that you would see fit in order to make that matchup a little bit easier for you. Who's singing? Oh, Tyranitar? Yeah, Tyranitar could also be a good option in that slot as well. I just got here. Is there a reason there is an extra 4 EVs being added? Oh, you mean like in the EV section? So Pokemon Champions is actually giving us EVs back, if that makes sense. Before, like, you would always lose a couple of EVs to the void when you were EV training, but in Pokemon Champions you actually gain EVs. What was the I had Moonlight break the math down for me. How many EVs are we getting back in Champions? Because they use a 66 point system. Versus like the original EV training system. It's like a condensed version of EV training. I said it's a tax return for my EVs. It kind of is. You get oh, okay. So I guess the easiest way to put it is that you essentially get an extra point than you have like on the old way of doing it. That's like the easiest way to explain it. So that's why there's an extra 4 EVs here. Any other questions? 252, 252, 5. Any other questions for this team before we go to this freaking Frostlass team that I just got? Oh, I need to crack my hip so bad. Snow teams can be scary. Which of those extra EVs should I evolve into Sylveon is crazy. Oh, this is Sinistcha. It's just, I don't know why it doesn't have a picture. Did it have a picture on the other one? No, it didn't. I don't know why. They don't have a picture for Sinistcha yet. Check the team chat. Oh. Oh, never mind. The team's not ready to be shared. What was your question? Oh. Are you talking about having a second Mega in case things change? We did mention that you could add Tyranitar on there. You could always do that. But I don't necessarily think that you need a second Mega per se. I love Sinistcha. I am going to the LA Regional. Bro gave me an unfinished team. Fine, I won't go over the snow team. Goats, please. Bro gonna give me the freaking Smeargle version of the Frostlass team somehow. I know. No snow. No snow. Yeah. Am I ready for champions? Well, considering that I just spent the last over 2 hours talking about champions teams, yes. Mega Glalie! Oh, brother. Yeah. But those are the 2 teams that I had. Bro said I'm not ready at all. Am I making teams for the community or making champions teams for your set? No, so these are actually just teams that I made for people to try if they're new to competitive and they want to try a team in champions. So if you came in late and you missed all of the me going over like the sun or the rain team and this just overall generally easy to use good team, I am gonna cut the stream down to shorter long form videos, if that makes sense. Just so that it's not like a 2-hour video, you know what I mean? To just kind of like have all of the information so that you can go over it as well. So if you miss any of it, those are going to be up. I'll try to get one up tomorrow, actually. Singles? No idea. I don't play singles. I play doubles, unfortunately. Yeah, easy to pilot beginner teams. Starter teams, yeah, you could say that. Yeah, they're just easy teams that are easy to pilot for somebody that might be new. If I was a Mega, what Mega would I be? You would be Mega Glalie. Would it be viable to have 2 Megas on one team and have 2 modes, or would that be a waste generally? Honestly, people have run 2 Megas, yes. The only downside to having 2 megas that I can see right off the bat is that if you bring both of them into battle, one of them is always gonna be useless because it will essentially be itemless if you choose not to mega that Pokemon. So you can definitely have 2 megas. I just wouldn't recommend bringing both of them. Just because, yeah, if you bring both of them, like in your team preview, if it's one of your 4, one of them's always going to be kind of like nerfed. Yeah, and I guess that's a more like concise way to put it. Is that it would definitely be a harder team to pilot, just because it would be more like positional, and you would have to like think about it a lot more and think about like what mega do I want to bring, which Pokemon is the better mega to bring in this situation. Do I want to bring whatever? Yeah, all that. I'm conflicted because I love Piplup, but I heard it wouldn't be the best idea. Just Aqua Jet into a ground type, and that has weakness policy. Easy, I did that. If the evolutions got megas, that'd be crazy. Will there be a Pokemon Champions channel in Discord? No, since we already have the competitive section in the Discord, we're just gonna leave it there. I play doubles? That's it? We need to ban doubles and bring back inverse battles? Why? Hello? I like doubles. Are we going to be able to use Z-moves, Terra, Dynamax, or is it just Mega? In the official format, it's just going to be Megas. Obviously, we have the ability to use any of the different gimmicks, but for the first actual rule set, it's going to be Megas. And chat was a hater when I used the Piplup with Aqua Jet, because they always doubled into it. It was rude. Bro said bring 6 megas so your opponent doesn't know who you're gonna mega. Z-moves scare you? I don't like Z-moves. Rotation battles? Yeah. The extra EVs? Yeah, it's nice, right? Yeah, we're getting them back. Is there a reason you prefer Venusaur to Hisuian Lilligant on that team? Well, is Hisuian Lilligant even confirmed in Champions? I don't remember the list of confirmed Pokemon, but Venusaur and Charizard are just kind of like the it is? Oh, it's not? Oh, okay. It's not? Okay. So yeah, that's yeah, I don't think that I saw it. I don't think that I saw it on the confirmed list, but yeah, but even before Hisuian Lilligant existed, Venusaur and Charizard have always been like a pretty like straightforward pair, just because they work together so like synergistically. I wouldn't personally. I wouldn't mega Venusaur, just because that way Venusaur is able to actually hold an item. Do I know if the evolutions are confirmed? I can. Let me look up. Let me see. I think Cerebi has a list of the confirmed Pokemon. Let me see. Confirmed Pokemon in Champions. Yes. Okay, so I'm just gonna go down the list of Pokemon. So we have Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, Beedrill, Pikachu, Raichu, Clefable, Ninetales, both Ninetales, not Hisuian, Alolan and regular, Arcanine and Hisuian Arcanine, Alakazam, Victreebel, Slowbro, and Galarian Slowbro, Gengar, Kangaskhan, Starmie, Pinsir, Tauros, Gyarados, Ditto, all of the evolutions that are from Gen 1. Oh no, all of them actually. Let me double check. Yeah, all of the evolutions are in Champions from the get-go. Aerodactyl, Snorlax, Dragonite, Meganium Typhlosion, and Hisuian Typhlosion, Feraligatr, and Ampharos, Azumarill, Politoed, Slowking, Steelix, Scizor, Heracross, Skarmory, Houndoom, Tyranitar, Pelipper, Gardevoir, Sableye, Aggron, Torkoal, Altaria, Milotic, Castform, Absol, Metagross, Torterra, Infernape, Empoleon, Lopunny, Spiritomb, Garchomp, Lucario, Hippowdon, Abomasnow, Weavile, Rhyperior, Gliscor, Mamoswine, Gallade, Frostlass, Rotom, Superior, Superior, Samurott, and Hisuian Samurott, Excadrill, Audino, Conquidor, Whimsicott, Crocodile, Garbodor, Zoroark, and Hisuian Zoroark, Vanillix, Emolga, Chandelure, Stunfisk, Golurk, Hydreigon, Volcarona, Chestnut, Delphox, Greninja, Diggersby, Talonflame, Vivian, Floette, Furfrou, Meowstic, Aegislash, Klotzer, Tyrantrum, Aurorus, Halucha, Goodra, Klefki, Trevenant, Gourgeist, Noivern, Decidueye, and Hisuian Decidueye, Incineroar, Primarina, Toucanon, Crabominable, Lycanroc, Toxapex, Mudsdale, Araquanid, Serena, Oranguru, Mimikyu, Drampa, Komo-o, Corviknight, Appleton, Sandaconda, Poltegeist, Hatterene, Grimmsnarl, Mr. Rhyme, Runerigus, Alchemy, Morpeko, Dragapult, Kleavor, Ursaluna, Basculegion, Sneasler, Meowscarada, Skeledirge, Quaquaval, Pawmot, Maushold, Garganacl, Armarouge and Cerulege, Scovillain, Tinkaton, Palafin, Orthworm, Glamora, Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Furrygraph, Kingambit, Sinistcha, Archaludon, and Hydrapple. That's what we know so far. I wish Chimpao. Yeah, Sylveon's there. Mega Venusaur can be fine, but that's not a Charizard Sun team that's trending bulky offense. I think that Mega Venusaur gets better when Legends and Paradoxes are back, where it walls Flutter and Urshifu. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I could see that. What are we doing? I just spent the last like 2.5 hours going over some easy to use teams for Pokemon Champions. Bro said that's personal, and I took that personally. I know, yeah. I don't know why they didn't add Lilligant, but yeah. Hi. Toxic? What do you mean by nerfing it? Incineroar is not heavily nerfed. No, I don't think it's heavily nerfed. It looks like, from what we saw in the preview, it looks like it lost access to knockoff, which is a nerf, but you can now just toss Darkest Lariat on there. It no longer knocks off the item, which is obviously like unfortunate, but at least you still have access to a dark type move that you can use as some kind of coverage, which is nice to have. And then the other thing that I noticed, especially in my preview, because I recruited Gengar during my preview, is because I like Perish Song, I was looking for Encore, and Gengar didn't have Encore. I don't know if they just didn't have like all of the available moves for us to see. So like that's why I'm saying that like I don't know if that's gonna be like a thing forever, or if it's just that we didn't see it in the preview. Quite possible that they just didn't have every single move, because like obviously like what we were shown is just like what they wanted us to see, you know? Because we also didn't have access to all of the held items either. So that's why I'm not taking it off the table. Like it's obviously like it's not confirmed or anything, but those are just things that we noticed and that we didn't see. So, I'm not encoring with Wobbuffet. Did they say that as well, weakening the toxic damage? I don't know. I was more concerned because I saw somebody saying that they thought that they were gonna change the amount of speed that Thunder Wave drops for paralysis, I mean. So that's why when I was going over Thunder Wave, I didn't actually give an exact amount that it dropped speed, because I did see something swirling on Twitter that said that they might be changing that. I hope not, because the speed drop for paralysis was probably like the best part of paralysis. Otherwise, it's just like gambling whether your opponent moves or not. Yeah, Whimsicott. I love Whimsicott. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they lowered the PP for Protect, which kind of essentially nerfs all stall teams, because you're not able to kind of just sit there and protect your way through a game. So yeah, that is also an interesting change that they made. I appreciate the invitation. However, I am currently focused on Pokemon Champions, but that sounds really fun, the tournament. Can't they ban stall teams? I mean, yes, but they don't particularly ban anything in competitive. It's not like Smogon where they like ban, like there's a sleep clause or they like ban a Pokemon to Ubers or whatever. It's just that they just have different regulations where different Pokemon are allowed to be used. But yeah, there's not like anything that typically gets banned. Eternistall taking away all of the glacial land. Oh, I know. Dozomir, dude, that too. Oh my god. You can use a zoom roll now? That is correct. It actually just announced if you use Protect Spam, your Switch will explode. Oh, brother. Incineroar needed a nerf for a while. It's not tremendous, but losing knockoff is something. I know, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think if anything, like, I think it just makes it slightly more balanced because Incineroar was, like, absolutely broken considering that it did have knockoff and just, like, its moveset in general. And its ability and its stats just made it, like, there, I mean, even without, knockoff, it's still literally, if you look on Twitter, it's the #1 usage Pokemon in the pre-champions, like, server or whatever you want to call it. So it has not wavered in its usage at all, despite not having knockoff. Watch Incineroar get follow me in Gen 10 stop. No. Make Incineroar crass dark? Ew. Impeccable. Incapable of holding Assault Vest? Oh, okay. Can't wait for Incineroar to clutch out games on its own. Yeah, it's annoying. Toxic is 100% accurate in Legends ZA? Okay, well, Legends ZA doesn't count. No, not the new Megan wins in waves. Sometimes Pokemon will lose moves between generations, Smeargle with Dark Void, but VGC rarely outright bans stuff outside of banning straight up Pokemon per regulation. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, but it didn't come out as concisely. Yeah. What do I think the best abilities in nature is in competitive? It's definitely Pokemon dependent, 100% Pokemon dependent. And it's also team dependent as well when it comes to natures and such, because if you're on a Trick Room team, you might want to use natures that lower your speed and increase a specific stat, or if you're on a Tailwind team, you want to use natures that increase your speed, or if you have a Pokemon that you want to be more like defensively bulky, like that like yeah, it just depends on what you want your Pokemon to achieve, what the rest of the team composition is, and what your overall goal is. Right now, Champions is, the only Pokemon that are confirmed are fully evolved Pokemon. Chatot was banned for a very good reason. So what's my favorite strategy to use for doubles? Well, my favorite, I have two strategies that I like to run. My favorite strategies are hyper offense. Very hit fast, hit hard, be not on the field for very long, but while you're on the field, take out as much as possible and end the game in like 4 turns. Or Perish Song. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. When I first started playing VGC, one of the first strategies that I learned to use and that actually like clicked in my brain was Perish Song, which is like the complete opposite of most people because Perish Song is so like weird and techie. But for me, it was just like very natural to learn how to use Perish Song. I always say that now I'm definitely, instead of like a Perish Trap player, I think I'm more of like a late game Perish Song user. Because I don't always like relying on the trapping part of Perish Trap, but I can, like, Perish Trap is still something that I can pilot. I just prefer to have more options outside of just relying on that. And especially, I mean, which is kind of good now because they nerf Protect. But yeah, I would say that I'm very bad with balanced teams, which is the complete opposite of what it should be because balanced teams should be the easiest to pilot, but I'm horrendous with them. Yawning Torkoal is crazy. Whimsicott is your must-have. Oh, I love Whimsicott. She's one of my favorite Pokemon to use in competitive. Best electric type in champions? Perhaps Raichu? I don't know. We don't know what its ability is yet. Weather? Oh, 100%. Yeah. This is going to be a very weather-heavy first meta, for sure. There's going to be a lot of Charizard Y. There's going to be a lot of Pelipper setting up the rain. There's definitely going to be sand teams as well. Especially since there's now Mega Excadrill. Okay, I can't say its actual name. Parastrap hasn't clicked for you yet. That's what I don't think that it clicks for most people. Which is why I don't know why it clicked for me. I think that like when it comes to me using teams, I have to think that the team is fun. Otherwise, I can't pilot it. So like if I don't enjoy the team, I feel like I don't do well with it. That is literally what happened to me when I went to, I think it was Portland. I went to the Portland regional with a team that was technically a good team, but it was a team that was so outside of my comfort zone and so different from my playstyle that I did horrendous with it. Like absolutely like I think it was like the worst I had done at a regional. Because like it wasn't something that I enjoyed playing. It was a bulky Calyrex and Miraidon team. It was the Leech Seed Calyrex set. Cali-I, to be exact. And like it was a good team. It had the tools to win. It just didn't work for me. Am I going to NAIC? I think so. I think I want to focus on the in-game ladder in Champions when it drops. And then eventually I'll do viewer battles, yeah. I hope Calyrex never makes it to Champions. I hope it gets left behind. No! No horses left behind! I got the horses in the back. Good Charizard Y counters. Well, since Charizard Y is obviously like a sunsetter and likes to run on sun teams, I think just in general, in order to like counter it, you're just gonna want to run like an opposing weather. Bro said rocks! Bro said throw a rock at it! Oh no. Stop hating on my horses. That's so rude. Tyrantrum. Oh, sure. Am I gonna go to Indianapolis? No, I didn't get a spot. I actively crashed out on stream because I tried to get a spot and didn't get one. Is there a point system to get moves in Champions? Yeah, so I don't know about moves. I'm not 100% sure on that. Like when it comes to like moves that are TMs and not like level up moves. But if in order for you to like do any type of training in Champions, you use the in-game currency, which is victory points, which you earn by like just playing the game and like completing challenges. Hi, Dragon in the Big 26. Why is that so crazy? Hello? 1,500 spots for NAIC? Dude, I know. Like, the way that Indianapolis sold out so quick was crazy. I know, they made me wait just to say that there was no more spots. It was foul. Champions is a regional dex, yeah. See you in a week and a half. I know, bro freaking is gonna make me set an alarm so that I can try again. Someone made top 16 at Orlando with Calyrex holding an amulet coin? Huh? Am I taking part in the Grand Champions tournament? I didn't sign up. I forgot. Fairies look bad right now? They kind of do, huh? That's crazy, though. I think somebody made day 2 with a Poliwag, so... I don't know. I think that people are just running weird things right now because it's like the last few Scarlet and Violet tournaments. I can't wait to run into the world's weirdest meta when I go to LA. It was the same guy? Oh. Marshtomp was day 2? Oh, brother. That's crazy. Yeah, I can't wait to run into the world's weirdest meta in LA. But I did hear that that Grand Champions tournament was, like, super big. Poliwag and Amulet Coin Calyrex. Bro was really there just for kicks and giggles. I hope that you do get a spot. Yeah, it is going to be the Wild Wild West. Oh, thank you for saying you like the plushies. 6,500 cap and 8,100 entered? Huh? For what? For Indianapolis? 81,000 people entered? Sorry, not 81,000. 8,100. My bad. Oh, for the Grand Champion tournament. Oh, I was like, bro, huh? No way they're just allowing fully evolved Pokemon and champions? Oh, well, I think it's just like, well, you know how like whenever they drop a new game, they just use a regional dex? I think it's kind of similar to that. They're just starting off with like a smaller dex just because it's a new game, and then they're going to expand the dex as they go. I hope that eventually they do give us not a regional dex, the national dex. Because Pokemon Champions is solely focused on competitive, I really do hope that they can just give us all 1,000 whatever Pokemon. A demo list, but yeah, we also don't even have, like, it's not even like confirmed that that's like the only Pokemon that are going to actually be in the game. I don't think it's like technically confirmed. I'm not sure. I know Pikachu is there. Pikachu gets mascot privileges, that's why. That's, yeah, Eternal Floette is a special Pokemon. They said no one would be mad not fully evolved Pokemon wouldn't be in the game, but I've been planning a Shelmet team since Champions was announced. Nyah. Check the thingy? What thingy? The group chat? Oh. Man, too late now! You want me to go over this now? Oh, brother! Oh, bro. All right. Let me see if I can go over this snow team. Let me see if I can go over this snow team real quick. Oh, brother. Bro said, actually, 15 minutes before you're supposed to end stream, here's the snow team breakdown. No, it's fine. Okay. What did you say? What? Glalie? Oh no, this isn't even a Moonlight team. This is a Christian team. You can tell it's a Christian team because Komo is here. Okay, so this is not so for this team specifically, it's not so much a snow team. It is just a team that can utilize the snow. Sorry that Mia's barking. So obviously the Pokemon that's gonna set the snow here is gonna be Frostlass, and Frostlass just got the Snow Cloak ability with its Mega, so that's gonna be how you're able to actually set the snow. EVs are gonna be 100 in HP, 220 in special attack, and 188 in speed. So you want her to have like a decent amount of bulk. But most of her EVs are gonna be focused in her special attack stat and her speed to make sure that she can get a good amount of damage off, while also being one of the quicker Pokemon on the field. You'll see that she actually has a modest nature, which is going to further boost the special attack stat as well. I know, dude. Snow Warning was Snow Warning was such a good ability to give Mega Frostlass. I mean, not that Snow Cloak is bad, but like, what is Snow Cloak gonna do? But so yeah, but by her gaining the Snow Warning ability with her Mega, it was a great addition. And her moveset kind of reflects the fact that she is able to set up her own snow. She is going to be running Blizzard, Aurora Veil, Protect, and Shadow Ball. Blizzard in the snow, we know, is not only is it a spread move, but it is also never going to miss if the snow is up. And it's also stab because Frostlass is obviously an ice and ghost type Pokemon, so it's going to hit hard. And in addition to that, you have a chance to freeze. So you're getting like 3 different benefits from the fact that she can now set up her own snow. Aurora Veil is also something else that she'll be able to set up for herself as well, since she sets up her own snow. And since she's a faster Pokemon, she'll be able to set up Aurora Veil quickly. Protect is important for all the reasons that we've already talked about many times. And then Shadow Ball is going to be not only a nice coverage move, but also a nice coverage move that takes advantage of her ghost stab typing. Snow Cloak Frostlass next to Snow Warning Auroras. Oh, okay. Let me see. I'm reading this breakdown. Hold on. Okay, yes. Okay. All right, cool. I covered that. Okay, cool. So the next Pokemon on this team is going to be Whimsicott, which I actually mentioned Whimsicott with Covert Cloak a couple of times when I've gone over these teams, because it's my favorite personal Whimsicott to run, because Covert Cloak is going to prevent any secondary moves from it's going to prevent any secondary effects from any moves. So things like Fake Out won't be able to flinch her, which is probably the main reason that you want to run Covert Cloak on Whimsicott, so that she is able to get off all of her status moves without being stopped. Her ability is going to be Prankster, which is of course going to give a priority to status moves, and her EVs are going to be 148 in HP, 4 in defense, 100 in special attack, 4 in special defense, and 252 in speed. So most of her EVs are obviously in speed and in, actually they're pretty evenly split. So we have a full speed on her, as well as a good amount of special attack investment and a good amount of HP investment. So she is going to be a little bit on the bulkier side, but she's going to be fast, which means that she is going to be able to be utilizing this Moonblast in addition to the investment in her special attack if she finds herself across the field from any like dragon type Pokemon, and you need to be able to get some good damage on them. I know I love her. She's also going to be running the Timid Nature, which is further going to boost that speed stat. And then for the moveset, besides the Moonblast, which we just touched on, which is the only non-status move that she's running, she's also going to be running Fake Tears, Encore, and Tailwind. So Tailwind Whimsicott I've talked about before, and I talked about it when I went over the Sun team, which is going to be your speed control. It's going to double the speed of all your Pokemon. So that is going to be your main form of speed control here. And then Encore is another move that I talked about on the Sun team as well, which is basically going to make your opponent's Pokemon repeat the same move that they just used. So if you're across from a non-Prankster Pokemon that uses Tailwind, you can Encore them into Tailwind. If somebody uses Fake Out that is not a Dark-type Pokemon, since Dark-type Pokemon are immune to Prankster, you're able to Encore them into something like a Fake Out. So if there's, for example, like a Rillaboom across from you, you can Encore it into Fake Out. And then Fake Tears is going to be the big one that's kind of different than what a lot of people run. Fake Tears, if you Fake Tears into your opponent's Pokemon, it's going to lower their special defense, which is why specifically Whimsicott and Frostlass like to be paired together, because she's able to lower your opponent's special defense while you're over here firing off like big hitting blizzards or big hitting shadow balls if you need a single target move, or if you don't have the snow to take advantage of your blizzards. Oh god, sorry. Another thing that I should also mention is that with Frostlass being able to set up her own snow when she megas, because they changed hail to snow, there's no longer chip damage, right? Because it's not hail anymore. Now she gets a defense boost. So that way she's actually able to be more defensively bulky, which kind of pairs well with the fact that we do have 100 HP invested in her HP stat. So she's not going to be as frail as she would have been outside of the snow. What are we talking about? I see paragraphs and I feel like I missed something over there. um. The T was meant. I know. I see paragraphs and I'm like, hello. Thank you so much for the 4 months. Moving on to our next, like, attacking Pokemon on this team, we have Kommo-o, who is holding the leftovers item and does have the ability Overcoat. This is such a not me Pokemon. Hold on. Let me. Oh god. Overcoat. What is Overcoat doing for me? Kommo-o. Okay. Got it. Okay. So Overcoat prevents any damage from like any type of weather. So is that yes. I was gonna say no, which is kind of interesting because this okay. So Overcoat prevents any damage from any type of weather. So if you're in like a sandstorm, you won't take any sandstorm chip, and then it also protects you from powder moves like Rage Powder. Mandibuzz. So yeah, so it's kind of Overcoat is kind of like a built-in safety goggles. That's how I would look at it. EV wise, we do have 188 in HP, 220 in defense, 4 in special defense, and 96 in speed. So with the leftovers and the 188 in HP, Kommo-o is going to and the 220 in defense, Kommo-o is going to be a very bulky attacker that's going to be on the field for a long time. Kommo-o also has a bold nature, which if we remember, a bold nature is going to boost defense, which will help it have that much more staying power on the field. As for its moveset, it is going to be running Iron Defense, Flamethrower, Body Press, and Protect, which is why we don't care that the Bold Nature is dropping the attack stat. The Iron Defense is going to obviously work synergistically with Body Press, similarly to how Stamina works with Archaludon. Iron Defense is going to boost your defense, which is what Body Press uses in order to calculate damage output. Flamethrower is going to be great for coverage, since obviously we are trying to protect our since we're trying to protect our team and we want a coverage move. And then Protect is important for all the reasons that I have said before. Ryu Nicholas, whoa, gets Overcoat. What? Yes. Okay, cool. Just making sure that we were going in the same direction. So with Kommo-o being so bulky and obviously focusing on its defense stats, it's going to be a great counter into all of the things that Frostlass kind of has issues dealing with because of her typing. So things like opposing Incineroars, things like Tyrannitars that she normally wouldn't be able to hit very well. Obviously, Body Press takes care of both of those type, like any dark type Pokemon, basically. Because a dark type Pokemon hates to see Body Press coming. So Kommo-o is great, but Kommo-o is a great partner to keep Frostlass safe from anything that Frostlass can't really hit. The Bulbasaur? Thank you. How do you get Sneasler? Oh, Sneasler, you had to evolve it in, what is it called? Or you had to get, what is it called? Hisuian Sneasler from Legend ZA, and then you, doesn't it take a specific item to evolve it into a Sneasler? Or am I tripping? Sorry, not ZA, Legends Arceus. Legends Arceus, my bad. Razor Claw. And you need to give it Razor Claw. That's what it is. Okay. So Razor Claw in Arceus. Here you go. In the daytime. Yeah. Hisuian Sneasel with the Razor Claw in the daytime. There we go. Yeah, I think that we covered everything with Komo. Flamethrower also lets it hit like any Sinistras that are on the field as well, since like I mentioned, Sinistra is going to be very big in the initial meta. So Flamethrower is a good coverage move to have to take care of things that are like that. The next support Pokemon that we have is Incineroar. This Incineroar, once again, is my favorite Incineroar to run. It's going to be bulky Assault Vest Incineroar with Intimidate. It's going to be 252 in HP, 76 in attack, 76 in defense, 100 in special defense, and 4 in speed with an adamant nature. And this is running the same moveset that I've been preaching to the choir about for multiple teams now. It's running Fake Out, Darkest Lariat, U-Turn, and Flare Blitz. Darkest Lariat and Flare Blitz, like I've been preaching about, are going to be your good damage dealing moves. It's good to have a coverage move with Darkest Lariat in case you do find yourself across from any like fire types or things that you can't hit with Flare Blitz. U-Turn lets you pivot out of certain situations that you are able to so that you are able to reposition your Pokemon, bring Incineroar back later to start Intimidate cycling, etc. And then Fake Out is going to be able to flinch your opponent's Pokemon for a turn so that they are not able to move, and you can take advantage of that move where they are not moving, or of that turn where they are not moving. Why? Sneasler is adorable. Incineroar is also actually a very good option, now that I think about it, into Mega Gengar, because Mega Gengar can't really hit Incineroar in general, but with Darkest Lariat, you can hit Mega Gengar. I love Sneasler. And specifically, the way that this specific Incineroar is built, it's actually able to live a Sneasler close combat, which is always nice to know. The Intimidate also helps with that too, I just realized. Much like the last team that I went over, this Sneasler is also going to be like the combination support and attack Sneasler. This Sneasler is actually holding the Focus Sash item, which is a little bit different since instead of the White Herb, it's not going to immediately activate. But if you are hit by some type of ground move by, I don't know, an opposing like I don't know what likes to, like an opposing Garchomp or something, or anything else that likes to run a ground type move, and it brings you down to your Focus Sash, then you obviously are going to consume your Sash, and Unburden will then activate. For this Sneasler, we have the 252 in attack, the 4 in special defense, and 252 in speed, which further gets boosted by Unburden, since you know that you're going to be hitting fast and hitting hard. And then the Adamant Nature is going to further boost the attack stat as well. Much like the Sneasler, or exactly like the Sneasler that I went over on the last team, it's going to be running Dire Claw, Fake Out, Close Combat, and Coaching. The Dire Claw is, of course, going to be not only dealing damage, but also has the role for any of the 3 statuses, Paralysis, Poison, or Sleep. Fake Out is going to be another... You actually have a secondary Fake Out user on this team, since you have both Incineroar and Sneasler. So you have 2 options for disruption, since Fake Out is great disruption, since, like I mentioned, it causes your opponent to flinch and they can't do anything for that turn. Close Combat is just going to be, on this specific Sneasler, a really good hard-hitting stab move that is good into opposing Incineroars or any other Dark-type Pokemon. And then Coaching, once again, Coaching is really cool because not only does it go through Protect, so that you're able to protect with things like Komo-o and get your Coaching boost from Sneasler, but it just helps you do more damage overall with any of your physical attackers and helps them take more damage as well, since it is boosting both the attack stat and defense stat. So you can sit this Sneasler next to Como-O to boost Como-O's defense for the body press, or you can sit it next to Incineroar so that you can boost Incineroar's attack so that it can do more damage with Darkest Lariat or even Flare Blitz. So Sneasler likes to sit next to these guys over here, just because it is going to enable Incineroar and Como-O to be able to do more damage, either because of their defense stat or because of their attack stat. But they are getting the benefit of both stats going up. You can also probably just sit Sneasler next to any of these Pokemon, and it would be relatively happy, just because Sneasler is such a versatile Pokemon, since it does have the Dire Claw and the Close Combat. So it's good into a variety of matchups. Sneasler is weak to ground, so it wouldn't even be a bad idea to pair Sneasler with Frostlass, since Frostlass does cover for the ground type weakness. That's true, yeah. Incineroar and King Gambit are kind of making Gengar's life hard. And then our last Pokemon on this specific team is going to be Sinistcha. This Sinistcha is going to be very similar to the Sinistchas that I've gone over before. It's going to be running the Citrus Berry item so that it can get some HP recovery, and its ability is going to be Hospitality. Its EVs are going to be 204 in HP, 84 in defense, 64 in special attack, 144 in special defense, and 12 in speed. And it is going to have the Calm Nature, which the Calm Nature is going to boost special defense and lower attack. And its moveset is going to be Strength Sap, Matcha Gotcha, Rage Powder, and Trick Room. So Strength Sap and Matcha Gotcha we've gone over on previous teams as well. Strength Sap is going to give Sinistcha a little bit of HP recovery and also lower any physical attack from your opponent's Pokemon. Matcha Gotcha does a little bit of damage and hits both Pokemon on your opponent's side, as well as has the chance to burn, which is great, into any other physical attacking Pokemon. Rage Powder is going to be there for redirection, so if you're trying to keep your more frail Frostlass safe, or if you're trying to have your Como-O stay safe for longer, or even your Sneasler so that you can keep your Focus Sash intact if that's something that you think that you need, even though bringing you down to your Focus Sash would obviously activate Unburden, you do have that option as well. And then we have the Trick Room option, just as something for a different type of speed control, whether you lose your Tailwind speed control and your opponent manages to outspeed you, or whether you're just trying to turn Trick Room off if you find yourself stuck in Trick Room. You missed the Frostlass explanation? I'm sorry. I'm gonna turn all of these breakdowns into like their own separate videos, so stay tuned. I'll upload it. I'll cut down the stream and I'll upload each team as its own individual video, so that if you just are interested in one specific team, you can just watch that video. But yeah, so overall, Sinistcha is just a really good support Pokemon, especially because of the hospitality. You're able to, if your Sneasler gets faked out or whatever, you can toss in Sinistcha, you can heal it back up to full, get your Focus Sash back. You can heal up your Frostlass if you think it's taken a little bit too much damage. Toss in the Hospitality, or toss in the Sinistcha to heal her back up as well. You can even heal up your Como-O, which is extra annoying because if you Hospitality next to your leftovers Como-O, your Como-O is going to be even more annoying and stay on the field for longer. So overall, this is another one of those teams that is just kind of good in general, and everybody kind of works together really well, but it also has the added benefit of having a weather if you do need to utilize that weather. It doesn't necessarily rely on weather, like it's not a snow team perhaps. Personally, I don't think that snow teams in general, like an entire team based off of just setting up the snow and playing off of that, is very good because snow is just not the best defensively. But this team does with Frostlass gaining the Snow Warning ability with its Mega, it kind of eliminates the need for something like an Alolan Ninetales. since you no longer need a separate Pokemon to be able to set up the weather. You just have one Pokemon that's able to set up the weather and can also Aurora Veil, which before that was Alola Ninetales' job, that she would set up the weather and set up Aurora Veil for perhaps another Ice-type Pokemon, or even she would just set it up to keep the rest of the team safe, and she would just try to fill in the gaps with doing a little bit of damage if you built her on like the bulkier, more support side. So with Frostlass gaining that ability now, not only can you do that exact same thing, but you're also able to hit hard and actually actively take advantage of that weather. Having a good team is good. So do you mind starting from the very beginning? Oh, okay. Yeah, not only that, but right when Champions drops, we don't actually have a lot of access to a lot of like different Ice-type Pokemon. There's only a couple of them, so making an entire like Snow team isn't actually like possible at the moment. Oh yeah, we do need Indeedee. Did I miss anything? I don't think I did. I think I got it all. Christian, you can yell at me if I missed anything. Oh, come on! Oh, he's doing a good job. Ooh, okay. I have a good team when Mega Slowbro. Miss talking about Smeargle. Questions on this team at all? Questions. Questions, thoughts, concerns on this team. No. Parasect? Oh, brother, not the Parasect. Okay. Good. All right. I feel like this team was pretty straightforward as well. Batsman said I'm lost. Oh. Nothing but concerns is crazy. What team am I gonna run first? Like I think I said it earlier. Like I said, I'll probably start off with the Sun team because I personally, if I'm gonna run a weather, I am probably best at piloting Sun teams. They just feel the most natural to me. I wouldn't mind using a Frostlass team though. I've been saying that I want to use Frostlass just because of her Snow Warning ability. I don't know. I don't think we know the exact release time actually. I'm gonna send you a team and not explain it. I want to see how well you can explain. Honestly, I don't know. I think I'm pretty good at being able to understand team. Everybody has their strengths, okay? My strength is not the numbers. The numbers, I let people that are better at math do the numbers. But when it comes to like understanding how a team works and like piloting it, I think that I'm actually very good at that because if I'm able to use a team like once or twice, I can pretty much like pilot it like effectively after that point. Which is why so many times on stream, I will literally like get a rental team, not look at the rental team, use it twice, and then feel comfortable using it without knowing what anything is. So that's my strong suit. That's what I bring to the table. If I send you absolute trash, can you explain it? Haven't you done that before? Yeah, it goes based off of time zones, unfortunately. Not the numbers, correct. 24-hour stream. I fear that I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I'm not young and spry. I can't do that. I would pass away. I wish there wasn't anything to do on Wednesday. What do you mean? I'm doing well. Do I think that a 222 team would work? Yeah, I don't think that I don't think there would ever be a time when 222 stream or a 222 stream. I don't think there would ever be a time when a 222 team is bad, just because 222 teams have a lot of like utility, obviously, because they just work in little pairs. So you kind of have like synergistic pairs that you can play off of that obviously can also run outside of their own pairs, but like just work well together. So yeah, I don't think that would be. I don't think there's ever a time that they would not work. Remember when she was bringing back the shiny hunt timer? Oh wait, chill out. Chill out. Chill out. That was a really short arc, okay? I missed a champion stream, not Pokopia. I'm sorry. Okay. If there's no questions on the team, I'm gonna go ahead and actually start wrapping up. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the live for TikTok. If you missed anything, like I said, I'm gonna cut down each section of the stream into its own individual video. So you can go back and reference it if you want, with the explanations and everything. So those are gonna be on YouTube. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. TikTok. Good night. What do you mean, never mind? Ask the question. Yeah, Sinistcha seems like it's gonna be really good overall. I don't have a VODs channel, but which is why I just the VODs just get uploaded to YouTube because YouTube automatically does it. But I usually end up just like breaking it down just so that you don't have to watch like the whole like 3-hour VOD if you don't want to. And you just like get the most important parts in the short form or the shorter videos. Bro said Terror type, stop. What mega? Yeah, oh, yeah, Frostlass. Mega Frostlass. Yeah, Mega Frostlass is the mega on this team. Wee. Well, I managed to make it through an entire stream while only stumbling 7 times. I forgot to turn my headset back on. Any reason why there's no choice items? No, there's not, like, it's not like a specifically like avoiding choice items or anything. It's just that like sometimes like other items are more useful to have on the Pokemon just for that specific team's composition. Kind of like how you don't always run like choice specs on Fluttermane. Or like, for example, like my Ghost Horse, sometimes she likes to run Life Orb, sometimes she likes to run, I think I've even seen like Covert Cloak on that thing before, not just Focus Sash. So it just kind of depends on the team compositions. It's not like a particular like, oh, I'm like staying away from choice items or anything. What impression do you want? Choice Scarf Protect, oh, okay. I ran choice specs Fluttermane with Perish Song at one point, but that's because that was a very specific situation. Wah, Bath Bat. Choice Scarf ability. I mean, people do run Choice Scarf coaching, so. Anyway. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and edit down the VOD into each team's separate video so that you can have them to reference. But in the meantime, I'll see you guys on Wednesday, and remember to brush your hair, brush your teeth, drink some water, eat some food, get some sleep, take a shower, and have a good night. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Goodbye and good night, everybody. My throat hurts from all the talking, I'm not gonna lie.